talking about a lot, you're going to see me up there, and you're also going to see Obi over there.
Yep.
But as for right now, it's the end of the midday, and thanks to our boy Obi.
You take it easy, guys. See you soon.
Thank you, gentlemen. And very quickly, I answered this question in the chat, but if everyone's still hanging around, I saw some discussion on the wash trading rule and about whether it applies in Canada. The answer is yes. There are two types for the wash trading rule, however. In the US, you're probably more familiar essentially with for tax purposes, selling something and then buying it back too soon. So that is one aspect of it. But there's another in Canada, which I don't know if it's probably the same thing in the US as well, where it refers to market manipulation, where there's no change in beneficial ownership, right? So like you arrange a trade between two people, it's a wash, essentially, and it's just to manipulate volume. So there's actually two types of it here, both of which are illegal. That's not a big deal, but I just want to make sure I clarified that up. The market slowed down a little bit here, but I think we got buckets of strength and buckets of weakness, and Tesla would be in the good bucket, and AMD would be in the weak bucket. Nvidia is actually pretty strong, up 2% today. The other thing I want to mention is there was also discussion about the MSCI rebalancing. Some people saying it's on Wednesday, and then Obi had mentioned it's tomorrow. You have to keep in mind the difference between when index changes, in this particular case, MSCI index. Yes, it's effective as of the close tomorrow, thus meaning any changes would be reflected on Wednesday morning. But for the trade, you'd be trading essentially potential imbalances tomorrow at the close. So that is one thing worth watching. Oh, I got to go over, and let's just get right to it because my reload in Palantir, 158 has still been a level on Palantir. It's been solid, but maybe this time it is not. I'm short here in front of that 58 level. It has broken a couple of times, just barely, but it's been able to push back down. Like, been able to get 58 down into 57. Hasn't been much of a continuation trade. Like a couple times I tried adding to it in here at 57, but it's essentially been a scalp trade at that $2 off that 157 level to 158 back and forth and over again. I also have Opendoor on radar still, and now GoPro because of that options volume. So there's a heck of a lot to look at. As usual, just to remind everybody, if you're trying to get us to look at a symbol, myself, Obi, when he sits down here, don't forget to put, I see most people are putting the $ in there. That's what you got to do. Just make sure you put that $, and that way we can check out the stocks. I voted for yes for Tesla, which I think was a jinx when you guys said, is it getting to $350? So I feel absolutely free to blame me if Tesla doesn't get to $350 today. I'm okay with taking that blame because I think I'm with a lot of people that I voted yes. It wasn't because I missed out on the long. I did. But no, I just felt like it had the momentum with it. And on top of that, this is a stock that has been pretty strong relative to the market. It's a decent pullback, almost a VWAP on the Nasdaq for Tesla to basically hold out those highs. Oh, just wanted to also mention the other stock that I have eyeballs on because I'm looking for a reload in Coinbase. Remember this morning, I was like, yeah, I'm feeling a little bearish on Coinbase. Well, much like a bunch of other things that just fell right away at the open that you missed opportunities on, Coinbase did not fill in the gap, so there was no short into 318 and missed the breakdown trade. So if you missed the 310 breakdown trade, the best thing you can do after that is take it in the afternoon. Like I just looked at it into the volume weighted average price, shorted into the volume weighted average price. You got to pick your spot. Probably should have shorted 314 in there, but I'm looking at 310 and VWAP this afternoon on Coinbase for fade trade. Just like the relative weakness that we're seeing on over in that name. What do we like here? Oh, I see this. Pathic in the chat saying bull flagging Tesla. The wall, Chef Joe, you're right. The wall at Tesla 350 is massive. I just want to test. We didn't say it had to close above there. We just want to taste. We just wanted to taste the 350. That's all. No, the jinx was not planned. I'll tell you this right now. Like I would never, and first of all, nobody would do that on the show where it's like, oh yeah, we're talking something up because we want to short it. No. No. Like that's one of those, like, and I know you're not really, maybe you didn't mean that, but trust me, that's not something that anybody would do. And, oh, that's right, Stevenson ETN, good one. Can we talk about the reverse split on Lucid? I'm not gonna lie, I had actually forgotten. And I'm gonna have to go and look up the date because oftentimes, like if I just say it loud enough within earshot of Adara, she'd just remind me of the effective date. Now she's not in the room, which means I have to look it up again. But it's just standard, right? Like whenever they do the reverse split, typically most stocks, I don't care when you do it, but most names tend to fall after reverse split. All they're doing is probably getting ahead of the whole notion, before it gets to underneath $1, don't worry about it, do a reverse split, then you're not concerned about any kind of like delisting. But I'm gonna look that one up there, Obi. That because the news was just on Friday, right?
For the split?
Yeah, I just gotta double check. Oh, August 29th. So that would be.
I'm not aware of that right now.
Yeah, Lucid is reverse splitting, one for 10. Oh yeah, August 29th.
The CCIV comeback, maybe.
Oh, yeah. Wow, now you're taking it back.
Taking it back, way back. Way back.
Back into time. You don't.
What was that? That high was
nothing?
like 60?
That was Blackstreet. Just saying. Blackstreet. You don't know Blackstreet?
No.
I like the way you work it. No diggity.
I like the way you work it. Diggity. Okay, is that what it? Okay, I know the song. I just don't know the artist.
Yes, you better know Blackstreet. Okay. Blackstreet's my joint. That's my favorite. That's probably it's my favorite group. That's my favorite R&B group.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, my favorite producer. My favorite producer was Teddy Riley. The dude is responsible for. You don't even know what this is, but he's responsible for New Jack Swing, which was like the original meld between. Like in the late 80s, early 90s, when they melded hip hop to R&B.
Okay.
Like talking like Bobby Brown, My Prerogative. He did the Michael Jackson. He produced the Michael Jackson Dangerous album, SWV. Like Trust. He was all hands and everything as well. The guy was a legend. But he's one of those producers. Before producers were famous for being like Timberland and the Pharrell Williams. Like now, producers get that juice, but he never got that juice. He was kind of ahead of his time. I believe we are ready for the rundown. See what you guys want to talk about at the desk with Joe.
All right, guys, I'm back, and welcome to the afternoon rundown, the segment chose by you guys. So make sure you get in the chat, Sharif and I, Obi, or Adara, and put those dollar signs in so we talk about the tickers that you guys want to know about most, all right? So first on the list, we have Open. So a lot going on with this name. So stock rallies as rate cuts could unfreeze the housing market. I know a lot of individuals are looking for that rate cut to kind of give a boost to the housing market, and sure enough, Opendoor might be able to participate on that front. So changing from its traditional to an e-commerce style of a move. Open the door up 6% on the day. What do you think, guys?
Well, they closed the door at VWAP, unfortunately, on Open. So that's, the good news is up 6.5%. The other good news, it was a good breakout long. The bad news is it didn't get to 6. I don't know what was going on with the sell-off. You guys had this live as it was happening, so I didn't really get a good look at the tape.
Yep.
I came to it after it was holding underneath VWAP for a couple of scalp trades in there. But even let's just imagine a world where it doesn't regain VWAP but holds $5. Like, yeah, you got a topping tail candle. Yeah, you have a reversal, and sure, it looks like, oh no, the top's in on Opendoor. It's game over, man. Well, I don't know that that's necessarily true if it holds on to the morning lows in the $5 level. You could end up with a head and shoulders, but we're way too far ahead of ourselves to believe that. Volume's still pretty impressive, 500 million shares on Opendoor. It's got this interesting like trifecta going on with Open, right? Like you've got, as Joe said, you've got the macro angle with rates. Then you got the institutional with Tudor taking a stake, and then you've also got like the meme retail craze. Like you've all three things going for it at this point. So yeah, well, they also replaced the CEO. Like there's a lot happening here for Open. But I said this morning, like just because you want it to, like squeezes are better to the long side. Ask anybody during the meme craze, right? Like that's what we want, but. This afternoon, I might be more keen to shorting this off of VWAP, but I'm willing to reverse. Like, I'm willing to be long over VWAP again on the stock. I just think the squeeze is more exciting. That hold of 5 will be key today. I mean, it closed at 501 on Friday. It's not like I'm just pulling that out of thin air.
Yeah, I still think that again, that 5 is going to stay important, Neil.
Yeah.
We've kind of mentioned that in the morning session as well, and I was like, okay, coming into the open and off of the open, we were churning a lot of volume in and around that $5 mark, and yeah, we finally got a push and a break through that level, nice little hold multiple times over the 5, and we get that continuation. That did come in really nicely, but taking a look at this bigger picture, this still looks perfectly fine. Sure, we get that aggressive sell. I don't know, this was news? I think, did we say it was news or no idea what it was.
Technical.
But yeah, just someone just selling, hitting the bid. I was watching this and it was pretty aggressive, so maybe just someone just dumping position. Regardless, there was some volume and sellers kind of stepped in, brings it back down in towards VWAP, reversion to the mean, and guess what? The mean is staying there as price kind of consolidates and churns around that quarter, that $5.25 area here, still above that $5 mark, some of those opening range prices. So bigger picture continuation, yeah, still well within, I would say, an uptrend. We did get some aggressive selling. The question becomes now, will this pop break out? That's what I'm asking. So if we're going to see selling coming in aggressively, that drops us down into VWAP, and then we get a little bit of a consolidation, maybe a little bit of a bid. The question becomes, is this area, this support turned to resistance, is that going to hold, or is that just temporary, and that's just a bigger picture, kind of a step up from prior days 420s that we're holding, and then 460s that we're holding, not only in the intraday, but in the after hours and the pre-market today as well, and then the step up onto 480s, and then 5, and then maybe a little bit higher onto 450s. So it's the first time in the past couple of days we've gotten some aggressive selling on this name. Don't forget where it came from. This thing was a sub-dollar stock not very long ago. So we did go through some earnings as well. When was that? That was on August 6th. That was earnings day one on this stock. Strong flush and sellers off of their earnings, but a failure to follow through anywhere lower as well. And that maybe gives rise for a bit of a push all the way back. And of course, we know that we got some big boys starting to participate with this stock. So can it give us a little bit of a push? It's definitely shown us that it's open to some fresh prices.
Fantastic stuff there, guys. Next on the docket, we have Palantir. Now, year to date, up over 100%. But over the past couple of weeks, guys, we've experienced a 25% pullback with speculation that the valuations are way too high. What do you boys think about Palantir?
Well, I think the last time it did a V-shape like this, it had a very distinct pattern that I'm just going to assume it does the same thing. V-shape on the 20th, and that's the recent low, right? Like that's obviously, that was an unbelievable day in terms of comeback from the market. It held this back on trend, which is, I think, an important thing. It did the same thing today, which is not as deep of a move, where it holds the trend line, it holds the 50 period. That's me knocking on wood because we haven't actually closed yet. But, 155, I think, is the 50 period. I favored short today. I might note it is what it is. I like Palantir to the short side. 158 was the big level. It never popped up. It was only a consolidation breakdown. I think I had almost every reasonable short chance here. That good. Try to make it overlapping, limit your loss. Good. Try to make sure we have a tight stop. Good trade, tight stop. So yeah, it's been in an upward trend, but you pick your spots and you're able to do okay, despite the fact that buys at all these little bottoms will obviously be better. But on that day, a couple of days ago, when we had the big reverse, when it broke the resistance, which I think is the 158, in the afternoon it dipped back into it and held. So the big line at the 158 is where I want to buy back into, just to look for an afternoon push. Like, I'm not thinking Palantir is going to $163 this afternoon, but if it can just maybe stay on pattern, now that it's broken this 158, try to move into 59, which is where we closed on Friday, maybe even the 60 level, if there's enough juice in the market. So, the 58 was a big level for me. If I was shorting there 4 or 5 times, I'm going to try to buy back into it as a key price level for Palantir. I don't know that it's out of the water in terms of a pullback, but come on. If you put in bottoming tail wicks twice, holding this 50-period moving average, I don't think it's that unreasonable for this to bounce and maybe at least retest 170 this week.
Yeah, I think that's just another case of kind of price action speaking for itself, right? It's like, all right, we've shown some weakness, but guess what? Even throughout that weakness, we've shown aggressive strength just the same as well. So again, we had that bit of a capitulatory action prior Wednesday. We have a range, leg, consolidation, leg the next day, and today we gap down, maybe a little bit lower, flush back into some of those prior days prices. Nice little bid on top of that 150. We can't even get that far past 149.37 is the current day low, and oh boy, what a reversion that was all the way back up. So if you took a little bit of that trend break, almost 5% to the upside there on the day, about $7.69 to the high from the break, a trend there, not necessarily from the day low. If you had the day low, then shout out to you as well. Nice little push and false break of that 150. That was pretty nice, I guess. 150. The way I think, if I were to go back and if I were to kind of say the ideal way to trade this reversion on the day, I think would be to just keep it extremely simple. Look at the strong aggressive selling that's coming in. Look at some prior days prices. That's coming in prior day's lows at 151, and then maybe some Wednesday prices as well. Right here, you can see this was that little consolidation before that bid up that from the low. So aggressive bid, pulls back a little bit, finds a bid where on top of 149s, and then distinctly pushes above and sustains above 150. So I think that 150 was interesting. It's shown us that there could be some interest there over the past week. And look at that, comes in once again today. So 150 is something I should definitely be watching on a strong flush like this off of the open, looking for the bid to step back in. And if and when it does, I like the push. Just maybe using simple execution ideas like a downtrend break, however you want to define that trend, whether it be with a trend line or a moving average, or maybe even VWAP as well. So you can see multiple indicators giving you multiple reasons to buy after that strong flush in the off of the open there on Palantir. So good stuff here. Definitely a little bit of stock goes burr on Palantir.
Burr is right. Obi, Tesla up next. I don't even know where to start with this name. Cyberbeast, $15,000 increase. Jerome Powell's slight pivot to maybe dovish with those rate cuts. Positive tailwind as well too. But let's talk about what's going on through an intraday standpoint. We have a technical breakout, and now Tesla up 2%, a monster move that we've experienced in this name, and that's kind of what we needed in order for it to break through some of this consolidation phase. Curious to what Neil's got going on, because he's all coming on now. Now talk to us about Tesla.
Not without me. Not without me. Don't do that.
I'm about to, I guess I can cancel the offer on Opendoor there. That's
all right. You know what? I'm gonna pack my bags.
all right. Okay.
Done.
So let's talk about Tesla. Opendoor just lost a bid in a big way. Oh, I had this. So the lesson learned. Remember, there's the front end of the trade and there's the back end of the trade, right? So shorting into VWAP, that's the front end of the trade. After VWAP, that's the back end of the trade. And if you're willing to, I'm not saying you have to short it, but if you're willing to short it at the front end of the trade, then you've got to be shorting it when it sets up at the back end. I was offering, I just in this consolidation, I just didn't get picked up. But yeah, we can move on. Let me just 1 second because I want to look at the higher time. You still have so much room to fill in this gap on open. 420, 460 just held. So there might be another salvo in here. I don't know, like maybe the 5 to 520 area for reload short. Like it wipes it out and then kind of comes back and settles in for another trade. Now we can talk about Tesla. That's frustrating. Tesla might be breaking trend here as well. Actually, no, Tesla's breaking trend on it's clearly breaking trend on the 15-minute. 350 was jinxed. I did say you guys can 100%. You can blame me for jinxing the 350 level. It was rightfully mentioned. Call walls will be there, of course, and it's a big level. It's been trying to go, but this is still bullish. Look, this little wedge that we've been on in Tesla, this test is different. Looks different to me, unless we end up putting in a topping tail candle and closing down underneath $340. then I think this is a bullish move on Tesla. Next stop will be maybe consolidating and then breaking 350 to get to 360. Everything about this says, why shouldn't we at least test 360 to 365 area on Tesla? Maybe not this afternoon, because we just broke the trend line down and the market's heading back in. But that's what I felt about this wedge breaking early. I got stuck in the, I'm trading it as a breakout trade in the morning. And then when the breakout trade didn't work, I went over to Opendoor because I'm like, well, Opendoor is going. And then they both went. So you could have had either one. Although Opendoor is not going now, that's for sure.
No, absolutely not. All right, so Vinfast delivered over 35,000 EVs in Q2 of 25, marking an over 170% jump from last year. That brings their first half total to more than 72,000 EVs, up over 200% year over year. With stronger sales usually in the second half, they're on pace to easily double 2024's 97,000 units. They're also crushing it on two-wheelers, with nearly 70,000 e-scooters and bikes sold in Q2, up over 400% from a year ago. And with gas-powered two-wheelers being passed out in Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City by 2026, the growth potential looks huge. You can find them on the Nasdaq under ticker VFS. So yeah, a little bit of a Stressla. Yeah, I don't know, man. Some strong push, more like strongla to the upside on the day today, looking distinctly different from the rest of the market as well. The market had a bit of a shake and bake. We had some strength, and then we had some strong pullbacks, some nice rollovers. But Tesla holding its own pretty well on a day like today. And we almost got to that 350. So maybe, I mean, we still got about an hour and a half. That 350 is looking a little bit less and less likely, but as long as we hold this bit of an uptrend on the day, I still like it. It's still well within range going into the close, especially if something like a strong imbalance potentially comes out, but a beautiful long, to say the least, on a day like today. And we talked about how well it held that prior structure as well, prior day's highs, some pushes off of some of these levels from yesterday. You can see consolidation lows, opening session highs as well. Anyways, that whole area coming in as a bit of a bid, consolidating, and then pushing up even higher. So I think this place right here, after about 1120, this high a day push, look at how clean it is. Came in really, really nice. I think if you tried it here once, you definitely got stopped out on a pullback in, but this one goes right away without looking back. So nice little push on Tesla on a day today. Stressla, I don't know too much about that. The longs are definitely winning. Unless you're a short, nothing stressful about this price action.
Why doesn't Nvidia have like a cool little, it's like Open the Door, Palantir, Stressla,
Should be
SoFi,
NV don't.
NVDA?
NVD don't.
It's like that?
Oh boy.
They only report this week, biggest earnings day of the,
Century.
it's of the year because it's always like the next
Of the
one.
quarter, maybe.
Of the quarter. Of
And
course.
even then, maybe not even that, because we've seen some aggressive.
You're only as good
earnings
as your last report. That's why whatever if Nvidia is the most important each quarter, then it's the biggest earnings thing of the year whenever it happens, because you're only as good as your last report. I used to remind my brother of that every single time we played chess. I'm like, Len, you're only as good as your last game, and one of these days I'm going to beat you, and then I'm never going to play you again. And that is exactly what happened. No, I'm just kidding.
You beat him once?
Yeah, and then for years I'm like, I'm not playing you. And I would just throw it in his face. No, it was like 1,500 and something to one. There were two, because once when I was like 4, he let me win a game when I was like really, really little.
Oh wow.
Because he was nice, and then after that he just literally mercilessly destroyed me at chess. But it made me a better player. Then I beat him at chess club in high school and stopped playing for years. Never. We'll play now,
Nice.
but let's go back and talk about some Nvidia. Little brothers are little-ish is sometimes.
Neil, it's because when you're that good, you don't get a nickname. They just call you by what they call you, and that's NVDA. So we'll keep it at that. Fair enough. All right, guys, fantastic stuff. So we know that the earnings report is coming this week, but we get an upgrade to about $212. But I want to note one thing, is that the open interest has not grown, and like we've seen on a couple of strike prices, and that's the 185 and the 190s. We're positive on the day, and after that pullback, you put in that hammer candle from a technical standpoint, and then now you are 10 points higher from that specific low. NVDA reports this Thursday. What do the boys think?
Well, this is one of those, but just first off, Opendoor is trying to claw back up. and I'm thinking 5 to 520. Like this is the area that I want to look maybe for a continuation rollover. Kind of like it bounced here, rollover at 40. I am looking for something to play into the short side. For NVDA, this is another casualty of the, well, I decided Opendoor was going to be the long and got away from Nvidia. But it would have been Nvidia if I hadn't been in Opendoor, because I exited Nvidia, got a bottom wick, and then took the break in Opendoor. But I could have easily just gone over to Nvidia as that was going. Look, strength into earnings. They're talking about, I think it was Wedbush saying there's still 10 times the demand to supply for their chips, which is wild. Like we're still in that phase, but there's a really good point that Adara makes, and I think a lot of people have been saying, but Adara mentioned a couple times this morning. When it comes to Nvidia, or it just, if you can nitpick one thing, and maybe the margin, maybe they disappointed margins like last time. It's just whatever that little thing is, they're going to be able to maybe sell it off a little bit because we're at those highs. I want us to decisively break these mid 180s, but it seems like exactly the kind of level where somebody's been selling it so hardcore between 83 and 84 that that's going to be difficult to chew through. It's going to take perfection. So if we don't get perfection, then this could be just a situation where the expectations are way too high. For this afternoon, I probably look dips where I had it at the 181 if we can even catch that. But for now, I'm looking at this Opendoor as the next trade.
Yeah, I think that Opendoor definitely is one to watch out for. Currently churning that $5 mark pretty aggressively. So I'm still watching it, haven't really taken a trade on it just yet, but I'm waiting, trigger finger on the ready to kind of maybe take an opportunity on open. But yeah, Nvidia, absolutely solid price action on the day today. This was the one. Yeah, this was the one with really clean morning action where like we come up, we have pretty much a flat top on Friday. We have the same top off of the opening range. We pull back in through pre-market lows. There's no follow through, 76 holds. We hold this kind of consolidation from prior day as well, mid to end of day consolidation lows. There at that 176, 177 area. And then you go in to break that 178.5, which again, lots of confluence. Prior day triple top, maybe pre-market resistance, opening range, high resistance. We talked about this earlier. Don't necessarily have to get in on this break, even though this break is probably one of the best places to get in because it doesn't really look back off of that. And then pull back, hold, continuation. It was absolutely solid. Now, I didn't know it was going to do this, but it kind of told you that it's starting to step up a little bit, especially after this kind of action here. Strength still holding on while the market takes a little bit of a curl. Nvidia, the market leader, is holding its own and doing really well at that here. Currently trading at 181, but I think Neil pointed out the most important prices, the most important places on this stock coming into earnings here as well. Like, what if we get that gap up? That gap up will be much nicer because we've had a flat top on that 184s, right? So just a gap up continuation, gap up above resistance. Right? So I really like that look. Going to be waiting for that Wednesday after hours report to potentially participate in that trade. Don't know if we're going to get past that 184 before then or not, but it's been quite nice.
It's going to be a party that day. Myself there on the desk. Maybe we'll go Dream Team. I don't know. We'll see. Oh, Opendoor just came in, and wait a minute. Every time I look at. We'll talk about SoFi in a second. Every time I look down, I'm like, why is it that like my positions are on the side that you're sitting, and it just weirds me out.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm short Opendoor to this lower high that it put in, which is a relatively tight stop. But if I like that area of 5 to 520, then I want to give myself a couple of cracks. It's even VWAP. I might take 3 shots at this. I'm willing to trade at multiple price levels. And Palantir just held the 158, that little dip into the prior high as well. Well, let's talk about SoFi, because when SoFi is so high, then I'm a happy camper.
Ooh, yes, and Neil, that's going to correlate with a 52-week high on SoFi today, guys. Also up just a little bit under 5% on the intraday session. Now, rate cut's going to benefit this name, but again, a technical breakout that you can see that we're experiencing through that $25 level. So a very, very nice break. Let's see what the boys think about SoFi.
I like it. I mean, the banking charter, They're going the Robinhood way where they want to be a little bit of everything to everybody, which I do like. There's a word that people have been using a lot, which is frothy. Does it feel frothy? I mean, I guess it does, but let me just go to my E-signal chart here for a second, because there's a little something on SoFi that makes me feel good. It gives me those positive feels, and it's not the weekly chart. Let me just drop it to M for monthly chart. Hopefully my head's not in the way. This is the glory of SoFi. Now, does it look a little top heavy? Fine. But this U-shape, just technically speaking, when Robinhood did this and broke out, it was absolutely wild. Is it frothy up here? I've taken profit twice in front, but I still hold most of my SoFi in my long-term account, although technically I actually have it in my TFSA, not in my RRSP, but I consider it a longer-term position. 28 on the weekly. This goes, and just technically a lot can go right for SoFi. That said, I didn't trade it today. Yeah, you know what? I don't have a good reason for not. Here, I'm just going to do this. Where's my fail key? Wrong side. There it is. Yeah, I don't have a good reason why it didn't even. It's on my iPad, but like I have a bunch of crap on my iPad. I don't know if you can see. So unplug it. Here. Like my process is I have all the symbols that I'm generally watching. I'll add different ones, and then if I put some stuff next to it, then that's the crap that I actually want to trade today. Mm-hmm. And I'm speaking like that because I have SoFi is like in here somewhere, and I didn't even write anything next to it, which generally means one of two things. Either I looked at it and didn't like anything, or I didn't look at it. And I can tell you candidly, because I don't want to sugarcoat it, I didn't look at it. If I had looked at it, I can't imagine a scenario under which I wouldn't have been at least contemplating the breakout trade. And if you took the breakout, it failed the first time and it was spectacular the second time. But when a stock is doing this, and it's got this going on, like why wouldn't you want that breakout? Yeah, that's a fail, right? Look at that move. That's a fail. I don't care what Opendoor did. That's a fail, not having SoFi to the long. Because I think that's a cleaner long second time through. Oh, well.
Yeah, that long was very clean. But guess what, Neil? I went short. So I did like the long. And I was like, oh boy. And you talked about this a little earlier as well. You're like, okay, where's the next best trade? And the next best trade, I was like, I missed the long. Okay, fine. But where the next trade, in my opinion, was the short, because I'm like, this is starting to set up as a little bit of mean reversion. Let me pull it up here, SoFi.NQ. So we can pull that up right here. And yeah, I kind of got chopped up on it a little bit. I was looking for a lot more than what it gave me. I had this initial kind of short here. Let me kind of blow this up. So this is a 3-minute chart. I had that initial short off of that first pullback, getting stopped out through the highs. Then I had the second short right there off the second pullback. This was much nicer and even better, so I think I sized a little bit more for this one, because I'm like, all right, well, mean reversion, kind of like that sometimes, where it's like it kind of extends even more and the trade becomes even better, and maybe with higher expected value as well. So I like the push. Back down, didn't quite get to view up. This is the level that I had to respect here. When it comes in, this was the bid that we found in the morning. This is the bid that it found once again. And guess what? I did kind of learn my lesson, where I was just like, all right, well, I did get stopped out. I'm going to get back in short when I see the sellers coming in. I like that for a potential push. I like the add here for a potential push through 26s. But guess what? The buying came right back in at the same place. So I was like, oh boy. And I kind of reiterated this a bunch of times on the midday show as well. I was like, there is a buyer at 25.90s, a stubborn buyer to say the least. Over and over and over again, whenever price gets into there, it's holding up pretty well. So had to respect that the third time at the very least, because I'm not respecting it the first time. Here, I guess this technically the second time, because that was the first time it pulled in and showed itself, confirm, and then there's that follow through as well for the third time in a row. Did well to get out of it, a little bit down on it, but nothing too crazy, well within range for the day here. But the long was definitely a very, very strong trade off the breakout, off the push, right off of the open. But guess what, Neil? That trade was pretty much everywhere. You see this market off of the open. That happened on I guess Nvidia. That happened on Tesla. That happened on a lot of stocks that closed pretty strong prior day. and then some of them gave it up, and some of them didn't, and are still holding highs. Tesla's a great example of that. Open still churning that $5 level. Boy.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say.
A lot of volume there.
Like it just came in, and let me zoom in. You see a little bit better. So it came in here, bounced again off of 485. So I have 97, it bounced off 485. It's now gunning for that top again. If it topping tail wicks this at 505, then I'd re-enter ideally as close to 5 as possible and try and rinse and repeat. But if it just breaks out that top, I want to get out. And someone was just asking a question about Open. I said Opendoor is exactly the kind of stock that I would expect to trade multiple times in the day. It's done 630 million in volume. Like that's never a stock that I'm thinking I'm going to get in one time and then stop trading. Not generally that type of name when it's this liquid. So I think I don't mind going for tighter stops and try to hold on to something for the move or like add back in on a trail. Like I don't mind getting long more. Like if I'm long here, I'm not actually out when I'm adding here, and then I'll pull that again up top, and never actually be out of the long, but taking multiple shots at it. But if we lose is the wrong answer because I guess technically you lose the bid. I don't know if you lose the offer. But if we break this local high, just like 504, I'm going to jump out, look for the next trade. But if this candle closes with another topping tail, I'm just reloading it. What's wild, I just saw Tony in the chat say Intel short closed.
Yeah, Intel's been nice.
Intel has been
so nice.
Sometimes it's just so good, the short on this stock. Like when this decides that it's done at a level, you don't really have to, it's just so easy. Like look, okay, so 26, fail break, right? Once it was done there, next day done. Then it rolls back and we're like, okay, well what's gonna happen when we get above 25? Tries to go back into that lower resistance, fail. And once it fails, if Intel fails the open on a breakout, you are good to go, generally speaking. Fail the open, you're just good to go. Short the pop, short the pop, short the pop, short VWAP, just whatever short setup is there, you just hold it and keep shorting it for the entire day. And whenever it does one of these, I just anticipate the same thing the next day. So like you come in the next day thinking Intel's a short again, and then you do that until you lose on one of those days. I think that's relatively simple for Intel. But it's kind of like it's been a good long for a minute.
Yeah, it's been a solid one.
I think it's been okay.
I think it's still well within range for continuation.
It could happen.
Like, sure, what, you're going to sell off for $1 on the day and the trade's over? I don't think so. We're still consolidating. We're in that range, a little bit higher. And I think the key price, again, is going to be that 28 roughly dollar level where that consolidation high lies. Opendoor, still churning that $5. So, yeah, I'm going to be patient with this one. I was honestly looking like it was looking for the continuation short, but I was like, this 5 is going to be very key. It's probably going to be very competitive. I'm not the only one looking to short it against 5 after it's done this aggressive selling on the day, but that's what I want to avoid. I want to avoid being in the trade that I potentially think is amazing, but it has a high probability of being very crowded as well. So I'm just going to continue watching and observing. Haven't really participated on Open on the day today, but yeah, this NEO is working out pretty decently. Just talking to Wayne earlier, I was like, oh boy, bro, like I had the trade, but NEO.
Oh, NEO.
Like I had the trade, I had the executions, and I just didn't have the shares that I should be having technically. Especially with my current shutdown, daily shutdown, and just daily risk. Like I am very, very undersized on this trade, and look, it works right off of the open. Right off of the open, it comes in aggressively. So it's like, okay, you got to build a little bit of confidence or some cojones to kind of really push into real effective size when the trade shows up, because we talk about this very often. The best trades, they do not look back, they go right away, and that's the kind of the characteristic that you want to see on all your top trades, and this is definitely one of them today. NEO short was my top idea on the day today. So coming in, didn't really have the executions that I wanted, but I don't have the executions that I want, if that makes any sense to you guys in terms of just sizing. And even maybe a reload here at that 650, it comes in pretty nicely for a secondary test. Like, sure, maybe not as confident here on the secondary push, but this is a trade in itself where it false breaks that prior high, trades back below that 650 mark, and then trades even lower for a push through low at A, whereas this is also a different trade when you kind of do a little bit of a double bottom bounce, can't even get to VWAP, and then push through that low once again for that continuation, and oh boy, did we continue a little bit lower. So a distinctly different day that NEO is putting in today after multiple days of strong bidding. So that's what I was looking for. I was already looking for the short coming in, so you guys can kind of reverse engineer that if you want as to why. But I liked the stock, I liked the trade, and it happened to work out in a way that I was looking for, so I got lucky. So that's all it is. And you can tell that it was doing its own thing. It's distinctly different from the rest of the market after some aggressive strength back-to-back days. So that's kind of what I have on watch as of right now. But nothing else. Maybe we'll find something with Adara with maybe some breaking news.
True.
Okay, keep an eye here on MDLZ, Mondelez, and KHC, Kraft Heinz. I'm seeing apparently court filing shows that Kraft, Mondelez, and some other major food companies have beat a personal injury lawsuit with regards to ultra-processed foods. So Mondelez, Kraft Heinz, and apparently some other companies beating this lawsuit. Keep an eye on these names, guys. Back to you.
We'll definitely keep an eye on those. Thank you very much there, Adara. So I mentioned if there was a topping tail wick candle on open, I get back in under 5. It did do that, and just, tagged 505, 506, maybe 507, or maybe like a 6.5 or something. Got back in underneath 5 at 99, as I mentioned. It's weird. I feel like my position on the other side always. Anyways, it doesn't really matter. I just feel like I'm usually on the other side, and it's like I'm looking over. I'm like, I'm not in NEO. Anyways, back into open, and then in the chat, I was having a conversation in there with Chuck of all trades. I'm like, this Palantir is not doing anything. Like, I got in, I tried to get more at 158, didn't get it. It slid up about 20 or 30 cents, but is now not really moving. As the market's sliding back downside, like, this is just holding 58. But overall, I would argue you're favoring the short as we pull into VWAP, but the longer Palantir can hold the 158 gives us a chance to maybe bounce out the following weighted average price. So the Nasdaq just went red on the day. So yeah, I'm going to hold on to it. I have my stop underneath that prior low, so that kind of speaks for itself. If it goes sideways, that's good with the market coming down. But a little scalp trade there in open. And what else we got going on here? What I want you guys to also do, because I just saw in the chat, Tisha Perkins from the morning, the Breakfast Club, you're still around. But Tisha, don't make me have to say it. Where's the dollar sign? Don't type INHD without throwing the dollar sign in there. Let me restart this and give you a reason. Here, we'll restart this and then give you a reason to put the dollar sign in. Here's the thing. I'm constantly looking up, and I can try to monitor the chat, and Obi can the best that he can. But it's just a heck of a lot easier if you just type dollar sign. That way, if it's a hot symbol and everyone's interested in it, then you're going to see it populate there. Then it's not just only about what we happen to be trading or the 4 or 5 stocks that I might have charts up for and the 4 or 5 that Obi has on and what's on our indicators. It's what about you guys want, guys and girls, all of our viewers here. So I want something I always try to keep it on here until something actually pops up in the lead. Tesla EQ and Fubo TV. Apparently the only place I can watch The Institute, which I'm trying to watch. It's Stephen King, and I don't have Fubo TV, and I don't know, I think it's on MGM or some nonsense, which I have no idea.
It's always crazy when you can't find these shows that you want to watch.
I just got
it's just so many things for everything, and it's just it was nice initially, but I maybe let's just say I like to sail the 7 seas. R. All right, so yeah, no, exactly. When you can't find things, there are always places to find things on the internet. That's what I'm trying to say. So market taking a little bit of a pullback here, and Neil's still confused. So
this is why everyone calls me a boomer, because I know it's probably something I should get, which is fine.
We can
Someone
talk about it
explain
after.
Someone explain it to me.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, there
Sports
we go.
and stocks.
Yeah,
there you go. That's why I was R.
Right.
So it's funny that website, literally their logo is a pirate ship. So,
Look, man, I know stocks, I know sports, and whatever the heck my daughter happens to be into at the moment. I'm sorry. a whole lot of other crap I have no clue.
Yeah.
I can tell you songs from that whatever K-pop Demon Hunter nonsense, but then something obvious like that, I have no clue.
Yeah, I don't even know about that stuff. Whatever K-pop shenanigans are happening right now, not very familiar with that. But I guess, what? He's like, what? You don't like?
I will
K-pop?
promise you this: there is a very decent chance on Halloween that I'm rolling around my neighborhood in the Saja Boys costume, straight up, because that's how I roll. We do family costumes, and my daughter gets to pick. And
she's definitely picking.
Oh hell yeah!
Rockstar.
And I lean into it too. I really don't care because one day she's not gonna give two damns. She's gonna be like, family costumes? You crazy? I'm going out with my friends. And then it's like, all right, I guess you got to that age. And then if you didn't do all that silly stuff, you're just gonna hate yourself. It's like, man, why wasn't I dressing up a fool and being that dad when I had the chance to do it? So it ain't never gonna be me. Yeah. Although I did, oh man, I prefer it when she picks something scary because then I get to scare the neighborhood kids, which it's like good scare. Like I'm not trying to have kids cry or anything, but anyways. We also do, in the chat here, I just saw something, this is true. I don't know what that, Nakul? Will you guys dress up on the show for Halloween? Here's the thing. I will dress up on the show for Halloween because I always do. Sean will dress up for Halloween because he always does. Adara will dress up for Halloween. I know she's a team player. I'm fairly certain Joe and Sharif will dress up. Yep. I know Fabian will dress up. Yep. Brendan, he'll say he has a meeting or two. Obi, it's up to you. I don't know if you'll be on the show that day, but for the most part,
I've dressed up before.
He's done.
Regardless, yeah. It's a good culture. I like it. It's fun.
That being said, I don't know if we've discussed what we're doing.
So the year before I was on, I was a Jedi. Remember that one? And then last year, I think I was a vampire.
Yes.
So there was that. And this year, I don't know yet. So we'll find out. We'll see what's happening. Usually it's funny. It's like whatever Halloween parties or whatever are happening, I'll be like, okay, this is my costume for the Halloween season.
You got to be practical. I went to a house party.
Like, multiple costumes. I don't.
No, I do multiple.
Well, if you have them, so now I have the vampire.
I got a bunch.
So it's just like, all right, you know what I mean.
Once you have a bunch. But you got to think ahead. Like I went to a house party one time, and I dressed up as Rorschach.
Okay.
And I was all in.
Yeah.
But like you got to be able to eat and drink food. So,
right.
Like, you know how
it has to be practical.
You know how in the comic he's doing this? Like I was literally doing this to like eat and drink and just creeping people out. I'm like, no, I'm all in.
Yeah.
If I dress up like Rorschach wears the mask doesn't come off.
You're locked in here with me.
Oh,
exactly. Joe just said you're locked in here with me. I'm not locked in here.
See, I understand that reference. It's from when he was in the prison, right? In the movie. Yeah. All right, guys. So there's an issue here. There's an imbalance in the force, and let me tell you about this. So, I don't know how many likes there are on the video, on the stream right 50. Now, but you guys got to step that game up a little bit, especially if you guys want to see me dressed up this Halloween. You know what? Before I do that, I'm gonna go check on YouTube right now how many likes that we have. So you guys have a little bit of time, maybe a few seconds, to go and hit that like and that subscribe button. But there's a little bit of a discrepancy because there's a poll going on right now, and that poll's been open for roughly about an hour or so. And there's some discrepancy in terms of the consistency. So there's about 384 likes. Would you look at that? 384 likes. But the poll has over 1,200 votes. Guess what? I picked just trade the chart, bro. Because that's what I'm doing all the time, most of the time, or the price action. But I participated in the poll as well. But yeah, no, those likes. You got to step those likes up, guys. Those are rookie numbers. 300. And there are what? There's how many people are watching right now as well? 4,400. So just in and around 10% of you have hit that like button. So if I see it by 1,500 by the end of the session, if we can get to 1,500 likes.
What are you dressing up as?
I'm going to put up a poll. I'll put up a couple of choices, and then you guys get to vote what I dress up as.
Oh, but you get to pick all the choices?
Yeah, of course. Why not? I got an only what?
Let me pick one of the choices.
Hey, we don't talk about my OnlyFans on live, bro. Come on. They don't know me like that. All right, so I think Neil has some business to take care of.
Exciting news for Canadian sophisticated traders. Beta Pro by Globex Canada has just launched 6 new triple leverage ETFs, offering 3 times bull and 3x bear exposure to the S&P TSX 60, semiconductors, and U.S. Treasuries. Even better, they're offering a special fee rebate, dropping management fees to just 65 basis points until the end of the year, December 31st, 2025. These ETFs also employ currency hedging to seek to neutralize U.S. dollar exposure, providing performance that may more accurately reflect the underlying U.S. equity indices. If you're a tactical, sophisticated trader looking to amplify your performance, check out betapro.ca/3x daily to learn more. Shout out to Beta Pro. The last thing on this topic, I think if you do the poll for your Halloween costume, you gotta let somebody else pick at least one of the costumes. You can't.
Okay, at least one.
Yeah, you can't throw like a bunch.
Can't be anything crazy. Like I don't want to go all out crazy. It has to be simple. Like for example, in the past for the Jedi costume, I didn't even bring a lightsaber. I'm not trying to carry a lightsaber on.
I got like 6 of them at home.
You have a red one?
Yeah, I got a red.
Sick. Okay. I could technically do that, but I had the robe. You know what I mean? I had the robe, and that was a lot of fun. And for the vampire, I had some teeth and a cape. So keep a cape with like the collar and everything, and it's something that gets the message across, but isn't aggressively time consuming either. It's just something I can throw on. I like that. Don't want to spend too much mental capital or time on that on the day either. So it's just like, all right, because it'll likely be a trading day, right? So if it's something that I can just throw on and get the message across, I like that a lot. So something along those lines. Robin Hood, people are saying Space Ghost.
Oh, I like that. Robin Hood's great. Like, what if everybody had to dress up like
as a stock,
but you can't just dress up as like the logo. That would be lame.
Yeah.
But like if you dressed up literally as like Robin Hood, then that's Robin Hood. And then you have to get really creative with it. That's not really, that actually kind of like
Opendoor, I can just strap a door to my back and keep it open and just walk around all day and have people guessing what that is.
No, that's actually, I'm liking this. Now the problem is now all of a sudden you got to get creative with this nonsense, and that's not easy. So we got to start thinking, because that's...
Hit those likes, I'm watching.
I don't think that's that easy to pull off. It sounds easy when I saw the Robin Hood example, but then like you start throwing other stocks up there, like Coinbase, like how would you dress up as Coinbase?
Well, what would be the parameter also for choosing companies? Like how big do the companies have to be? How recognizable do they have to be? How many elements of the company have to be in your costume? Like as long as I have parameters, I'm very intrigued, but I just need parameters.
As long as it's listed, I think it's fair game.
Okay.
And then however because the way I see it, as long as the viewers can reasonably guess what stock it is that you're dressing up as, then you win. I mean, if you dress as something and it's like, okay, it makes sense to you, but it doesn't make any sense to anyone else, kind of like my sense of humor, then it doesn't really fit. But, just one more. Last thing, I said the last thing a while ago. I meant to say this as you were talking about your costume for Opendoor.
Yes.
Phrasing is all.
Yeah, I know.
Phrasing.
The chat's kind of blowing up on that. I didn't realize until until later.
I know. I'm just saying, family show. You never really know. Just phrasing.
Yeah.
Open's doing the same thing at like $5 as it was before. It's like scalping back and forth, the $5 level. But Chuck of all trades, I think you might have this one. I finally got the fill at the 58. But we might not want it. We might have to put a tight stop on this. I was actually trying to cover some here. I was sitting on the offer at like 40 something. What was I sitting at? Anyways, it doesn't really matter. It didn't fill. But this sideways action at 58 might be resolving to the other side. So, the scalp in and out seems to be okay right now for Opendoor, but Palantir, I don't want it breaking this and then resuming to the downside. The market's trying to bounce off VWAP as we speak, but if it doesn't, then I'm in a little bit of, I don't know. It's still holding the 58, but it might just be a 30, 40 cent scalp trade. It's now been a half an hour It's been a half an hour that this is sat in that range, and if that's all it's going to be, then that's what it's going to be. You have to respect the afternoon for sure. I saw something else in the chat that looked. Oh.
What do you got?
Well, anyways, I saw someone type in Lily, but I didn't know what the comment was going to be, so I don't really know.
I like that one. T. Hyde, dress like a sheep and call yourself Baba. That's a good one.
So
I like that one a lot.
I couldn't even finish my thoughts.
I like that one a lot.
If you guys tell us,
Boeing. Couldn't it also be Boeing? If you
no,
were
it's
Boeing,
better for Baba.
Oh, it's got to be Baba.
No, it's got to be Baba.
Baha.
That's got to be Alibaba.
Yes.
If you guys spoil all the good ones, then we won't have any ideas to.
Or I could just strap a sheep like onto my head or something.
That one's the best. That was the best.
That's dress as a spring and go as Boeing. That is amazing. That's solid. That's a good one. I like it. See, this is what I mean by this is what you meant by getting creative. I like that. That's a good one. Big Bear, yeah. I know.
Oh my goodness.
You just need a Big Bear costume. See, here's the thing. I still have to be like, you know, the tactility still has to be there. I still have to be able to punch my keys. You know what I mean? So.
Why couldn't you do Big?
I'd have to take off the bear gloves.
Big Bear is too easy. Big Bear is too easy. I'm just like that's the thing. Like I don't know. I don't know. I wanted to I feel like you got to do something.
I might just keep it simple. Dress up as a candlestick.
No, that's pretty easy.
And call myself Quadunk.
Come on, Palantir. Palantir might actually just be going in a 30-cent range over and over again. It might just do this for the entirety of the afternoon trading, man. It just might be the way that it goes. I've been asked again about Tilray. All right, so you guys know what's going on there. What is Tilray doing? TLRY. See, that'd be a challenging stock. How would you? It's easy to dress up for like a cannabis theme, but you got to pick an individual name. Tilray that's just not going to work on many levels. But oh no, it failed that high. Like it failed this little high here at 37, and multiples. What the heck is going on with this stock? That's that prior high, and it just keeps on rejecting it.
It's just knocking on the door of that. That's a daily?
No, this is the 15-minute.
Okay, yeah.
This is the daily, Obi. This is blue. It's not blue sky, but I mean, why not 140 break? Where's the 120 mil volume? 1, 2, 3 times it's failed 38 with the high being actually at 40. You could literally punch a 40 break with a stop at 38. That's 3 cents worth of risk because you're going to get 41s. So you go 41 with an out at 38 on a break and then just see what happens. I like that on Tilray. There's not that much happening in the market right now, so I'm going to go put Tilray. I'm going to move Palantir here into a more prime spot, and I'm going to put Tilray up. And if it breaks that high, I'm going to take it. I'm going to put my stop at 138.
TJ Morty in the chat. I like that. That's pretty funny. I'll give you that one.
What?
I don't know if I want to say it out loud, but it's fine.
Oh, come on, you can say it.
Good. Yeah. He's saying since he loves the backside, let's go with Opendoor, which is kind of funny. I liked it.
Maybe you shouldn't have said it.
It's funny, but not going to happen. But here's what is going to happen. That poll is not going to be up until, like I said before, 1,500. I think 1,500 likes is well within range. I got it up right here, guys. The likes are currently at 16. Nice. 622. I said 1.5K. A lot of people have amazing ideas in the chat. The chat's blowing up with all of these costume ideas. The market's selling off, so not really doing anything there. But let's make this come true. If it gets to 1.5K right here, 1.5, I think that's very, very doable, especially with the pace we're going at, 10 likes a minute. I think it seems we have about 60 minutes until the end of the show, and then maybe 30 minutes more for the after hours market recap as well with Neil and Adara today. So we got lots of time. So got to pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers.
Oh, we got a super chat.
But okay, so I'm looking for the next trade. What is the super chat that we got?
It's Mike Lowry.
Oh boy,
Mike Lowry gonna be all right. Thank you. You got into Palantir at the low of the day. We have a key for that.
Congratulations!
The graphics are a bit loud. At least they are on our end. God bless and praise be to God for you guys. Appreciate you. Thank you. I mean, I don't even know how we had anything to do with Palantir at the low of the day. because I know I wasn't looking at Palantir at the low today. I've been nothing but. Actually, I came in with Palantir as like a short on my short list. I just missed a short, but those mean reversions, especially on Palantir, when it dumps hard at the open, and you see one of those like monster candles, it doesn't always work. Like here, you probably take a couple of shots, and it's like, okay, maybe you get a small win. But when it does work, it's like it's so good that you want to reverse, and it's fine to maybe just try to pick your spots, trying to short, but like that, like all the way. Palantir has this thing about being able to complete the V shape once it really gets going, and that's what makes the dip buy so compelling with it. And the other thing to keep in mind, we mentioned this at the beginning of the show, for all the doom and gloom about Palantir, just straight technicals. Don't at me about the PE, I get it, it's overpriced, that's fine, it could go lower. But if you look at the trend that it's held, there was acceleration when it broke the trend, there's acceleration when it broke it down, but now twice has it fell under the 50 period and the support trend line and been gobbled up at the open. Gobbled up when it loses the trend line. That just means the dip buyers are like, you're under the 50 period on Palantir, let everyone panic, we're buying. That's what's been happening. 2 opens, we've seen it in a row. That's short-term bullish on Palantir above this 50-period moving average. That's all I'm getting at here. So anyways, Palantir looking pretty good. Tilray, let's see if it could go. I'm trying to figure out, why did you just type Toblerone into the chat to every page?
Oh, because he was talking about, I was just reading the chat, and because I think somebody was like, oh, Obi, less talking, more trading. I'm like, sure, if the trade shows up. Let's not try to force trades that are not there, right? That's rule number one. Trying to make good decisions, not make decisions for the sake of making decisions, right? I think that's something important to remember. It's always easy to get lost in the sauce and be like, oh, that's a trade, that's a trade, that's a trade. I don't really care, man. I have a certain playbook that I like. I have certain types of trades that I like. And I do well when I sit on my hands and do nothing most of the time. I'm sitting on my hands doing nothing on this Neo trade that I am in right now, and that's working perfectly fine for me, right? So it's like, all right, where is the next trade? Sure, I might have missed a couple of trades here and there, maybe some reversions, but none of them were clean. Not necessarily. I'm in the ones that I wanted. Opendoor, a bit of a miss on my part, but I'm watching that as well. But Eri Pages, I think he was talking about Mars bars and Snickers. Which one's better? Yeah, Snickers because of the peanuts. For sure, I like it better. Mars is great, but not the same kind of like you mentioned, kind of a crunch. But that's why I was like Toblerone kind of comes in. I like Toblerone as well.
You're putting Toblerone in the same category as a Snickers? Toblerone is like a very, like, you eat it at Christmas and...
Yeah, no, I mean, maybe, sure. They do a lot of... You know what, honestly, if we're talking about chocolate with, like, I guess nuts or walnuts or anything, I like Ferrero's.
Yo, grab those chocolates. There should be a box of chocolates from Nimrod somewhere over there.
There, actually?
Because now you've been somewhere over there. Like, Sean's probably hiding it.
Oh,
There's got to be some left. If you find it... Anyways, you're not... If you find it, don't have to look too hard.
I don't think I see them right off
I remembered we have chocolates over there.
Oh boy, I'll definitely be looking for that. But no, Ferrero Rocher, dude, you know those boxes that you get? I will inhale those. Like, those go down so easily.
Challenge accepted.
Boom, boom, boom. Like, I'm just eating one, and I'm like, wait, did I just eat one? And I'll eat another one.
I challenge you to a Ferrero Rocher or any other kind of chocolate eating challenge.
Yeah? Dude, I love chocolate.
I know, but I love to eat. Ferrero Rocher is actually overrated. I said it. Ferrero Rocher chocolates are overrated.
They taste really good, man.
No, they're good, but they're overrated. So I've been asked about OPAD. OPAD. Well, we've been asked about OPAD. Offer pad, 200%. What's this? 130 mil vol. Oh, why is it every? Oh yeah. Oh my goodness. That's a pretty big topping tail at 5. And it just did potential topping tail at 5. I hate when this happens. It's like by the time we're looking at a small capper on volume, yeah, that $5 level, let's see maybe if it can do, maybe you want to dip holding 4 to 420. I just really, when I look at that daily chart and see like the candle forming on the 15-minute, Like it's setting up for a pullback right now. You know, if you close this 15-minute candle underneath 460, then 4 to 420 on a pullback could happen on this thing. I'd like for it to go up for you, but that's not really an appealing long at this price or at that moment. So I'd stay away. At least for myself. Like if you're already in it, that's one thing. You let it fly.
Sorry, that's a 15-minute chart?
Yeah, that was a 15-minute on OPAD.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's a little intense. And it's a double. It gets more than a double up, right? So
yeah, on the intraday, yeah. On the intraday, that's you don't always see that. A lot of those multi-percent runners just happen in the pre-market, right? Yeah. Has that one that doesn't even look like that halted any time in midway? I don't know.
There's no halts on this, which
I think so. No,
there's no
single halt at least
Not
off the action. Yeah. Wow.
It looks like it should have gotten close a few times, but
yeah, it definitely got close a few times.
Halted.
But I guess they held it down. Yeah, because you don't. I mean, I don't know. But yeah, so looking good there on the OPAD. I'm looking for the next trade. I don't really see anything, so let's go through some stocks. Let's see what's been doing the most volume here on the day. I know it's going to be Opendoor. Opendoor is still chopping around that $5 mark here. And I thought about getting involved here, and I was like, this is probably going to be so crowded. So many people are probably risking against this 5 here. I don't want to get chopped up for no reason necessarily, but I think it's a good place to potentially look for the next trade. The step down was pretty aggressive here as well, but let's go through these volume leaders on the day for now. By the way, I'm still watching this. 727 likes so far, so we're getting there. Slow and steady. We're getting there, but I'm looking for a little bit more. Remember, 1,500 likes, and then you guys get to decide off of a poll what costume I'm going to be wearing on Halloween this year. So that's coming up pretty soon. INHD, remember this one? I remember this one from a little bit earlier. That's holding up pretty well here as well. Normally doesn't do that much volume. Neil, the average volume on this one is 5.7 million. Today it's done 166 million shares traded on a day. No wonder it's halted up and done some craziness on the day here. So this one looking similar to that OPAD. We just talked about, oh boy, nothing really does multi-percent runs intraday. But guess what, Neil? This thing has done 290% from 10:35 to about 2 o'clock. So nice little push there on INHD. Wow, indeed. NEO, oh boy, a little involved in this one here. Beautiful, beautiful flush off of the open. Beautiful respect of that 650 and that VWAP. And then beautiful breakdown of this opening range low. Sure, you get a little bit of a bounce. Can't expect it to be clean every single time. But the price action is still very much there and flushing to the downside. A red day after multiple days of green here. Intel as well. Intel selling off a little bit off of that 25.5 area where we've been seeing some resistance a little bit overall here as well. And then OPAD, we just looked at that one. Nvidia, oh boy, this one might be poised for some fresh highs going into the close. HCWB, not really on radar on the day today. And then SoFi as well, we were very much involved in this one. Thar halted up a few times there. That one settled down a little bit in Palantir, of course. Beautiful reversion that's holding up as of right now, Neil. So a lot of stuff that had the volume leaders, all the volume leaders seem like they had great opportunities on the day. Was involved with, I guess, only 2 of those names. But it seems like Nvidia might be poised for a little bit of a run.
Just very quickly, Opendoor broke that 505. That was my 5 to 505, not giving it any more room than that. But what you should have room for is for Woman Boss. Empowering women to change the world. And you can make it happen. The Woman Boss trains and mentors women and girls across Africa to lead, innovate, and thrive. Since 2018, we've reached over 10,000 women and girls, and your donation today can launch the next great entrepreneur. Scan the QR code on screen now and join us in building a brighter future. And the market's bouncing off VWAP pretty nicely here, but let's go to Adara at the desk.
I just want to remind you guys here, definitely check out X at TTV Research For some market content, if you're looking to see what is posted, or I guess what's on watch for tomorrow, I just posted our TTV Research Daily Calendar. So we've got a whole bunch of economic data. We have some earnings and we have some company events. Check this out on X at TTV Research. Again, every day around 3 p.m. when power hour starts, this usually gets posted. So definitely check that out. Back to you.
Peter Zerwinski, Canadian, January 4th, 2012. The record for the most Ferrero eaten in 1 minute is 9. I just had to make sure. So thank you, Random Sandals, for the super chat there. Guinness record for Ferrero Rocher chocolates eaten in 1 minute is 9. Let's see you guys try to break the record. Neil, I am so down to break this record. I'm actually going to go practice today for just to get the reps.
I don't think I could do 6 or 7.
6 or 7.
I don't think
9?
you understand how. No, you're not doing.
Do I have to eat one at a time?
You're not doing the math in your head. They're not. Yeah, you're not really. Trust me.
Because it's going to take me at least like 7 to 10 seconds to eat one.
Not as easy as it seems. Off the top of your head, it seems like that would be easy, but it's not.
Yeah, how?
Trust. I
got to get down to eating one, basically inhaling one. Literally what I said. I have to be able to inhale them.
It's not the kind of thing you can really inhale. Anyways. Tesla 350. Yes, we can. Palantir can't. Palantir just keeps scalping the same range. I'll let you guys know. But Tesla is absolutely taking a shot at 350. It does seem here. Oh, Lewis in the chat. Good question. Do day traders get out daily?
Yep.
Yeah, that's the notion of day trading. Now, depending, on a prop floor like us, that's like a hard rule. You have to close all your positions, and you start new positions on the next day, and that's how it works. But I mean, if you could, let's just say you're a retail trader, you could mostly day trade, but then there's no rule stopping you from holding overnight, right? You could just call yourself a day trader, trade mostly intraday, and decide to then hold one position. Now here, when you're trading at a prop floor, you're trading somebody else's money. Like someone is giving you a bunch of capital for you to then trade and you get a commission off of. But in a day trading prop floor, you are flat at the end of the day. You cover your position. Now you might get some leeway in liquid stocks aftermarket to maybe hold a few minutes or so, but you're not holding it overnight. By rule. So yeah, we're always out of these positions, which sometimes can be a little frustrating. It's like you know it's good, you cover at 4 o'clock, it gaps up the next day, and then you don't get that same trade. But that's the life of a day trader. The other side of it is you get a bunch of extra capital to play with that you couldn't yourself, right? Like the account size that you're able to do as a prop trader. You're just not rolling like that. Well, at least I wouldn't be, but. Yeah, so there's no free lunch. So for everything, there's always some kind of a trade-off. Tesla looking incredibly strong. Here, Luis Mendoza, if you're in the red, you still got to take the hit. You can't just hold something overnight.
But if you're in the red, yeah, you lose for the day.
You just got to take the hit. You just got to punch out and take the hit.
You can't hope for it to come back tomorrow. That's a different trade. That's not the trade you're looking at. Sure, when you kind of argue that the trade is the trade, things are happening on a much bigger frame. 100% they are. That is what the trade can be. But there are trades that are much shorter. There are scalps, intraday level to levels. There's so many different other things that you can potentially have. And yeah, it doesn't matter whether you're red or green on the day. That's irrelevant, right? You have to be out by the end of the day, and you would have probably had to have that in your trade plan as well, being like, all right, what is the plan for this trade? Am I getting out into the close? Am I getting out at a certain price target? Am I getting out because of a change in behavior? Am I going to get out based off of a new behavior that I'm expecting to come into the market? But regardless of whatever your reason to close the position is, usually happening on the intraday. So yeah, good question there. I like that. But yeah, no, have to be done by the end of the day. And yeah, it doesn't matter whether you're red or green. You gotta be. Yeah, there you go. Eri Pages. Shout out to Best Loser Wins. I think that's by Tom Hogarth, right? So another great trader of our time. Great book and great content that he produces as well. So definitely check him out. But yeah, no, the best loser definitely wins. You have to know really well how to lose, and you have to be willing to lose multiple times over and over again. We kind of talk about some of the best traders that I'm familiar with. their win rates are like 20 to 30%.
Yep.
So guess what that means? That means you're losing 70 to 80% of the time. You're red. And the times that you do win, you win so much that it doesn't matter that you're losing 70 to 80% of the time. But think about the mental toll that can take if you haven't primed yourself and trained for that kind of a thing, right? Most people, they don't like being wrong. Most people have an issue with being wrong. They're like, I'm always right, whatever it is. The ego death is a very crucial part for successful day trading.
Ooh, I like that.
Or just
ego
trading
death,
in, ego death has to happen.
No, you've got to have a mentality, because was it Reza in the chat? Reza in the chat was just asking, and that he asked why you were long Palantir, but that's because the position board's flipped. It's like all these positions are under me.
Yeah. You gotta check the name.
I was on Palantir at 158, and it was very simple. 158 was my key level today. Like it was the area outside of, obviously it flushed at the open. That's the area I was shorting at 158. It then broke 158, held on a dip, so I was then a buyer at 158. It's that simple, like support to resistance and back and forth, and you just do it, just do it rote. Like that's the strategy. It got to that price, and the shorts started giving you scalp trades, and I guess look the other way. But now that it's broken, going into the close, if it bounces and curls at 58, then I'll short in front of that level because 158 was the level. And that's like to me, you just try to keep it as simple as possible. And sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but as long as you have a plan of action, then two things can happen. One, if you actually have a plan, then you can evaluate how that plan went objectively, and you can do more of what works and less of what doesn't work. And then you don't get really emotional about it, which I think is important. That's the thing that gets me. Like you don't want to take a hit and then get angry. Like I'll get angry if I make a mental error. Like if I keystroke, I don't get too pissed off. Like it'll happen once or twice a year. But I think when you do something which broke a rule, as opposed to just taking a hit because you made a trade that didn't work that fits your plan. Like if I break a rule, that didn't actually break the trend line, but I got short anyways. What am I doing? Like that's the thing that'll piss me off. Okay.
Tesla 350, by the way.
Yeah, that's where my eyes are. I mean, Palantir still. I might take a reverse on that one, but Tesla in that 350 level, this might be a chance to short it. And I'm probably once again jinxing it because now it's just not going to get to 350 because Tesla. It's still.
I don't expect it to be clean.
It's still trending toward 350, and it's trying to break the trend now. Well, it could easily pull back to 47 first. Like this little uptrend that we're on, it could bounce here, make one more test, but if it breaks down here, that might be the chance to get into Tesla. We still have about 30 minutes to go till the imbalances, so there's plenty of time for this to make a good move here.
I like that. I like that quote. Garrett Morris, drummer. I like him as well. I've seen some of his videos, some of his philosophies I like, and some of it is kind of whatever. But Alan Watts, the biggest ego trip is getting rid of your ego, and of course the joke of it all is that your ego does not exist, which is funny, right? So I like that as well. Again, you gotta go on that journey, and I've definitely there's still times where I'm just like, my ego's getting a little out of hand. I have to kind of dial it down, kind of pull back, and really stay calm and collected for optimal performance, right? So so this 349's coming in here on Tesla. We're holding up pretty well here. I'm looking for that 350 push. It's 319 right now in terms of time. So we still have about 40 minutes until the bell rings. Let's see if we can clip that 350 and maybe push a little bit higher. Market tailwind definitely not on our side as we've been selling off for the past couple of hours here. You can see it pretty clearly here on the ES and the Nasdaq as well. Tesla, distinctly different. One of the only Mag 7s that is pushing its fresh highs. Sure, Nvidia is strong. Sure, Alphabet is strong. Sure, Amazon is relatively strong as well.
Is it
but
though?
Not as strong as Tesla. Tesla is the strongest out of the bunch, and then maybe followed by, definitely followed by Nvidia, and then maybe some Alphabet as
Amazon's
well.
exactly what the Nasdaq is.
Yeah,
I mean, like precisely, like it's 0.05 down. The Nasdaq is basically the same thing. Don't get me wrong, I like Amazon. Dip bought it after earnings, and it's held to 50, like all that kind of good stuff. But here's what Amazon's doing. Well, I like these. I like the wedge. Every time I draw a wedge on a chart, then you have to suffer through me mentioning that Wedge is the most underrated character in Star Wars by a long shot. Wedge he didn't have any powers, man.
Oh, you talked about him last time.
The man couldn't summon the Force, but he just found a way to survive. He's a hustler, man. Anyways, you have a wedge pattern forming on Amazon. Ideally, we resolve this with a breakout tomorrow. That's one to put on the radar. Like I didn't necessarily like it today for that reason. Like you were just failing the top end. So if you can break out 230, then that is a wedge break here on Amazon. Post earnings, wedge break, hold of the 50-period moving average, all that good stuff. But it failed that top today pretty decently. So unless it can break that tomorrow, I'm not sure I'm a huge fan for sure. Airy Pages, this is a good question. I'm a nerd, so I'll answer it. How much would you pay for a low Earth orbit trip? I think Katy Perry was on that trip. I've thought about this. I would love to go. But at the prices that it costs to go up there, I'm just being real, I would have a hard time justifying that over literally giving to charity, helping out a family member. It's just, I couldn't. And I would love to go. Like, seeing the curvature of the Earth, like, that would be a lifelong dream. But I just have a really hard time justifying it. I think what's going to happen is 100%, I'm not that old, but before I die, it will be much more reasonable that I wouldn't feel ridiculous going up. So I don't know what that number would be. But if it's over, but it's this thing. Like, it's just like if it's over 5 figures, I could not spend that on myself for an experience that's just about me. I can't do that. There's so many other ways that I can enjoy. Anyways, it doesn't really matter. But I would love to go up into low orbit, see the curvature of the Earth and everything. Not just like you would see. It would be a bucket list thing for myself. I just could never justify it.
I think it's well within range. I would say within our lifetime. I think with the way the technology is kind of building, I think it'll become, like, I guess, relatively accessible. I'd say. Not a lot of people are willing to put down, like, say you said 5, 6 figures, 6 figures.
Yeah.
For the trip, that's wild. It's just like you said. There's so much more.
My thing is, anyone you hear any quote from people that have seen the Earth from orbit, even a low orbit, and how sort of like life-altering it would be. And then on top of that, like, I'm not, like my dad would, like, here's the other thing. I would send my pops up before I would go myself, because, like, I know he didn't, like, that's one of those things, like, if he had the chance to do it, it's like, whatever, he would just take that shot, because he'd want it more than I would. And that's probably most of the reason why, like, I'm into it. Like my dad was talking about this with my wife yesterday. My dad would take us to see stuff when I was a kid that, like, made no sense. Like, I literally watched 2010 when I was a little kid in the movie theater, and I thought, well, this is really, really cool, and that's why I'm into science fiction. Right. I'd send him up there. Like, he would kill for that. Anyways, John Baker, how do I feel about Virgin Galactic? Don't buy it. Speaking of all that, how do I feel about Virgin Galactic? I own Virgin Galactic shares. Anybody that watched this show during COVID knows that I was a buyer on the way up, and I'm a nerd, and it's a meme stock, so how could I not possibly be long it? Wow, how far do I have to pull this? I have to go to a monthly chart? This is the problem. You can't use, like, daily charts for anything for this. No, this was a fantastic stock if you had it during COVID, when literally you could buy. Because the fun thing was you could buy just about anything and it would work. So why not buy something that you think is cool? The problem would be if you were still buying it on the way down after everything sort of, came back down to reality. I just don't see, like, and the funny thing, on the way down, like, a few years ago, I would have said multiple times on the show, like, now what? Like, now that the froth is out of it, now that the meme-ness stock and craze and all the free money that everybody got, now that fun is done, what are you left with? Because they had so many concerns to even get it functional to the point where you could be doing multiple trips, let alone getting it to a price point that also could make it a viable business. I think it's the coolest thing ever. Absolutely. They sent an Antiguan up on a Virgin Galactic flight. That's where my family's from, which is super cool. But no, that's just nope. SpaceX is a real company. Blue Origin, that's real. These guys, fun. It's a fun concept. But someone in the chat even just said they would invest in SpaceX too. They're doing amazing things with SpaceX.
Dude, SpaceX is absolutely blowing it out of the water, right? It's just like
it's not even close. It's not even
nowhere close. Like I saw that like the progress video of the rocket launches throughout the years, and the frequency, the level of like evolution of the technology is absolutely crazy, and it's only getting better and better, right? So I think in terms of SpaceX, absolutely beautiful. It's a prime example of I guess Elon's capabilities of growing a company. I know a lot of people hate on Elon, but he's kind of proven over and over again that he knows how to successfly build and grow good companies.
Someone would like to know if you've seen the Wright brothers.
Like the movie The Wright Brothers? I know of the Wright brothers.
Oh, you do know of them.
Of course, yeah. Don't you? What do you mean?
What? I'm just checking.
These guys were the fathers of aviation, were they not? And then some of was it? I think it was Da Vinci's drawings and contraptions for flying. Those are absolutely beautiful as well.
If you get to Rome, there's two Da Vinci museums. Yeah. There's one that's like a cool practical one, which is fun, and you don't have to worry about lines, and it's outside the Vatican. And then there's like the big one. Going to the small one on the day you do the Vatican is definitely something worth doing, especially if you're there with kids. Rome is awesome. All right, what else we got here? Everyone's now just talking.
Yeah, they're like, hey, hope he finally knows something. Aviation.
What?
Nice.
Okay, first of all, that was Fabian that wanted me to ask that. I was not trying to throw any shade on Obi.
Here's a joke. Okay?
But Fabian just wanted to know.
I like my science. Let's say that. I majored in science. I like physics. I actually love physics. I think that if I were to go back to school just for fun, it would probably be for theoretical physics. So that's something. But like right now, ain't nobody got time for that. I mean, that takes a lot of time and dedication.
Time for that.
It takes a lot of time and dedication and mental capital, all of which I'm not willing to put on the line right now. But I still kind of still watch videos on physics. I think there's Veritasium's absolutely amazing.
Tesla's breaking the trend.
I don't know if you know what Veritasium is. I'm watching Tesla pretty aggressively here as well because I want to take it into that 350. I've tried once on top of that
I want to nibble here.
49, but it didn't really work out just yet. So I'm going to be a little bit patient.
You had the 49 short?
No, not the short. I tried the long.
Oh, you went the long.
I went long, and then it came back down.
It's breaking.
So I got out on top of 49, and then now it's following through. So I was like, all right, good. It was a strong reason to sell. I'm like, if I wasn't in the long, I would probably take that short. So I jumped out of it because
I like that logic.
But yeah,
I always ask myself if I'm ever biased to the long side on something, and I'm like about to enter the position long. I ask myself if I had zero bias, would I short this here? And if the answer is yes, then like I might take a long somewhere else. But you'd be surprised how often, like you're at a key price, and it's like if I had no bias, what would I be doing at this price if I was just looking at the chart and the price action? And so like, yeah, do I want to be long? Do I think Tesla's going into a long? Do I think Tesla on the daily chart looks like a long? Do I think Tesla is trend up today? Absolutely. But at 3:30 in the afternoon, when it just got to 349.5 and then broke the trend from 346, I'm thinking short. And I'm trying to get the short, which it won't fill me on. The prior bar is 349.20. So I can throw a stop at 349.20, like quarter or so. And if we get it, we get it. And apparently I have a stop somewhere else on Tesla that I have to cancel first. But if I can get the fill, I'm looking for that short. It'll be a relatively tight stop because I think risking less than $1 on Tesla can be somewhat classified as a relatively tight stop. But yeah, I just see the trend break at 330, which reminds me, everybody,
oh boy,
to look at some early look imbalances.
Yes.
Yes, early look imbalances. What do we have? Ooh, whoa. Sorted it one too many times. Ford Nobody cares about Ford. 4 million to the sell side. Enbridge is always there. 3 million buy. CNQ, PCG, they're always there. Why are these always the same stocks? NEM, 1.1 million. It just got Tesla at 69. Yeah, I know. I'm just never offering 370 or 75. Just gonna offer 69, and you guys have to live with it. But that's not a lot on this locator. I'd say very disappointing on the early look, but you never really know. There could be something pops in here in about 20 minutes or so as we get the bigger imbalances coming through. So first stop, 48, maybe 47, and then 46 are the obvious levels here. This is not a time of day to think about VWAP, at least not for myself in terms of a retracement. I think I'd be perfectly happy if this were to get down to the 47 level. Certainly 46 would make some sense, but I want to be on the right side first of 48, and then we'll see how it goes at that 47 level. So a bit of a trend break here on Tesla. My stop is at the prior bar high on the 3-minute, like it always is. Let's see if this trade can measure up to expectations.
Yeah, let's see what you did there.
See? And I leave it right there with silence, so it's as awkward as possible for Rob and Mark, who are hard at work right now.
All right, so no follow through on that. No follow through on that 350 there. So a nice little pullback going into the last half hour. I'm just waiting and watching. I want to see, I like the short, but I'm not going to participate in it. I want to see a distinct kind of a flush. Because right now, if I'm shorting this, I'm risking against 350, right? If I'm shorting this, I'm risking against 350. But I still am looking for a potential 350 push going into the end of the day. And so close to imbalances as well. I don't really want to, I guess, participate in anything that I feel a little iffy about. So let's take a quick look at what else is kind of moving around. We know that Nvidia was pushing for its high of day as well. Let's take a quick look at Nvidia and see what our friend is up to here. So yeah, a little bit of a pullback. So along with the rest of the market here, finally kind of stepping in to the book are some of the sellers. 181 halves trading at 181 currently, but holding up quite well, Neil. So we're seeing a little bit more of the same. So 2 days of good strength on Nvidia. We have the morning rush. And then for the rest of the day, you consolidate within the upper quartile of that action. And then on the day today, sure, a little bit of a shake and bake off of the open, but the bid does catch on. And look at that, nice little sideways in the upper quartile of price action for the rest of the day. So nice little push there on some of these tech names. So I like that. I'm still looking at this Tesla as of right now. But let me know in the chat. Yeah, exactly. Joe Ventura saying Obi 2 trades. Yeah, exactly. My thing has always been quality over quantity. Quality over quantity. I like that. Now, that's not I know there's traders on our floor and with the firm that do not trade like that at all. They have multiple different stocks and multiple different entries and exits, and it's just baskets on baskets, and that's totally fine as well. It's just you have to trade what you kind of align with. So I didn't have many ideas today. I can show you what my I guess morning plan was here. Let's go back to that. And did I actually trade a lot of that morning plan as well? Okay, so where is my Notion?
While you look just for a second.
Yeah.
So the first time off 328, so 348 on Tesla, it bounced. This is the second test coming in at 348. There's still buyers in here. Most of the buying was in the, I'd say like the 20 to 25 range. This time it's right at 348 that you're seeing some of the buyers step in. So if it breaks down from here, obviously that's good. We'll look to see if it has a bid at that 347 level. Ideally, you want to be out of this before the imbalances come in. And I just asked Adara, what's up with this Ray stock? That's not a pattern you see very often. I know a few people have asked about this. It is on the list. It's like number 7 out of the symbols that you guys have been talking about here in the chat, like right down in here. The only one without a logo, which, I mean, I've never heard of the stock, so I guess it makes sense that we don't have the logo for it. But what is this thing? Raytech Holding halts down off of the open, opens higher, and then just rips everybody's faces off. This is a pattern. You don't see that happen very often, but if you ever catch shorts that far off guard, like, it's almost as if it's like you caught shorts off guard, then it was just maybe sideways, and eventually when there was capitulation, it just let go. Like I'm not even seeing a story on it. Like all I see is that it was halted on a circuit breaker, and then the resumption. Yeah, like I just don't really see much what's going on. Like why was this stock halting down? Maybe just technical, but this is if you trapped shorts this morning on that halt down or in that open and maybe other shorting, this is now potentially breaking out. I'd love to know what the story is here, but I don't really see anything on Ray. Yeah, this is probably worth having up on like the charts even just tomorrow to see if it's still doing volume, because that sets up like it's a breakout and somebody got rinsed down there. That can't hurt the long, I suppose, but yeah, not really sure what the story is here on Ray.
All right, guys, listen up. First month free, that's right. We're waiving fees, so trade smarter, not harder. Upgrade to Elite. Analyze, strategize, and capitalize. Our platform, it's everything. Infinite data, instant trading, lightning fast market insights, game-changing charts. Predict with backtesting, reliable real-time data, and global markets at your fingertips. It's an all-in-one platform, so don't miss out. Execute your best trades now. Ready to elevate your trading? Scan the QR code or check the link in the description. All right, I think we got some breaking news with Adara.
I couldn't find any news on this RAY. I will let you know, decent amount of social media attention, but everyone's just kind of confused as to what happened. I don't have anything news related, unfortunately, in the float, market cap, etc., are not really significant either. Back to you.
Yeah, someone said it's a Chinese ADR. Is that it's a Hong Kong pure beauty man? What is going? What is it? What do they do? Yada yada yada. Mining and industrial supply. What? Okay. Mining and you're just trying to figure out what could be going on with that one. Sometimes you be careful because some of the Asian ADRs, when they lose the bid, it's just nasty, and it doesn't have to be a story. Like it loses a technical bid, and the next thing you know, you're in a series of halts to the downside, and it might not make any sense because there was maybe some froth built into the stock. So yeah, be careful with those. I didn't realize. I just looked it up now, and it's not to say that you can't go long because it happens to be a Chinese name or listed. Be a Hong Kong company, but that always gives me at least a little bit of pause on those small caps. So yeah, and without a story or a catalyst, maybe I don't like that as much. So here's the second test again, or actually technically the third test on Tesla at 348, but once again, bought right back up above that 348 level. It's starting to feel like it's running out of time. I'm not at the point yet. Like I've moved the stop from the prior bar. Well, actually, no, it's still at the prior bar. I haven't done it yet. I'm thinking about it, though, if I shouldn't be using break even the more times we bounce off the 348 level. I'll give it one more chance, one more candle. This is still looking pretty bearish here on Tesla. But I saw Numchucks in the chat just said this, which I think is a good point. If you don't know anything about it, do not buy. Yeah. That's sort of the thing.
You gotta know what you're buying.
Like if I could, if you find a quality story or a catalyst, like a reasonable one that you know, like if it could be a pharmaceutical with a good trial and good technicals, so you can make a trade. Maybe you pull up the chart, it's done it in the past, but you know, pretty liquid. Like that's fine. But if it's moving nonsensically for absolutely no reason, and I pull up a company page and I'm like, what is this? Then yeah. Probably going to stay away. You can still make technical trades to the point where there's liquidity, but if it halted off the open to the downside on absolutely nothing, I don't like that. You know, you don't want a stock that has no news, no catalyst, and halts down instantly off the open. Like, how is it even happening? I don't want to be a part of a stock like that. What's it going to do overnight then? If it did that just at the open on no news.
Yeah, I think keeping in mind the volatility profile is definitely key.
Yes.
And yeah, it's just you got to know what you're getting yourself into, and that whether or not you're familiar with the kind of action it's been doing, or maybe you're familiar with it a little bit more fundamentally. Like, a lot of people ask me this question, like, oh, do you know? Like, sometimes it's just a stock, sometimes it's just a name, right? It's just a four letter ticker, and it honestly doesn't matter, right? Because at the end of the day, if you're trading price action and you're in for short term, then you're taking the short term trade. So in that sense, yes. But in terms of a swing and something that you're investing in, no, you definitely got to do some of your research. But I think we got some breaking news with Adara.
Just be aware here, guys. We do have BA on watch, making a bit of a move to the upside. Korean Air reportedly expect to announce an order for roughly 100 Boeing airplanes. BA did get a little bit of a pop, so Boeing on watch again. Reportedly, Korean Air is going to be announcing an order for roughly 100 Boeing airplanes. Not yet confirmed. Back to you.
Ooh, another good order for Boeing, but that's literally at the low of the day when it caught that news. Wow, look at the trend down. Wow, Boeing. Yuck. All day trend to the downside. I don't want to. Any pun that I would use is like inappropriate given Boeing's history, so I'll try to stay away from that. But this was a stock that was primed for a break. It still might be. This is, it still looks great on the daily chart. Hold the 50 period, higher lows, even when it dips. The dip, rejection 240, holds a 50 period, puts in a higher low. Now you can break the wedge. Why is there a wedge pattern on like every single stock that I pull up? Obi? I'm seeing it's like deja vu around here.
Yeah, there's been a lot of indecisiveness. Yeah. There's been a lot of price compression. I think, especially with I thought you were looking at Baba. I was going to say, especially with some of these Chinese names that have been running up. But yeah, no, never mind. That's Boeing. But yeah, no, I've been seeing it all around, right? I've been seeing it all around. Tesla especially. Right. There's the weekend calling me.
The weekend's not calling. I had to get out of Tesla. I'm going to show you guys why. Remember 348? I'm like, there's a battle at $348. We'll give it a chance to break it. It did break on the third attempt and then got bought right back up. And it opened the candle above this prior. So I'm like, let's just get out of the trade. It's not close enough to 350 to YOLO, and it's close. Well, I mean, it's 347. It's 342. Still have 7 minutes to the imbalances, but it wasn't looking perfect. And I saw the way the buyers came in there at the 48. Let's just get away with what you can, right? Like try to get the positive trade in there. If it goes further, fantastic. Jag, you're right about the wedge pattern. It's because we've been in a chop zone. But the thing about the Boeing one, if I can just finish the thought for a second, is this one it's pretty bullish. But I get it. It plays both ways. But it's how clean these have been. Like the higher lows haven't always been clean on a lot of the stocks where you see this. But I find like a lot of the lower highs are just very clean. It's like it's buying right into the same trend. Like once it's established, we're getting wicks right into that same top. So what I love about that is it's very clear when you're taking that breakout. That's why Amazon for tomorrow, and I didn't hit save for this, so I guess you have to live with me drawing these every time. It's like Amazon. Like that's just so clean if Amazon breaks out tomorrow. You kind of want to be in the trade. I speak for myself, of course, but you kind of want to be in that trade. Like it sets up really nicely. And the thing is, if it does so and you're in the 230 range, you've got room to the prior high for one leg, and then you get continuation potentially after that if you want to be swinging it as well. So there's just a lot working on that time frame. And someone just asked about like the swing on, like, would you swing Tesla? Well, Tesla's breaking trend too. I think for this swing, the question you're asking yourself is, what style of swing trader are you? Are you swing long here till the trend bottom, which is probably closer to 313, that wick? Are you swinging it to the 50 or the 200 period moving average? And these are all time frame based, right? So you'd want to have your own strategy as to that works. Like the way I look at it, it's like you give it to the wedge bottom in that particular case, but that's just the way that I would look at it here on Tesla. I mean, anyone else can have their own strategy. You could ask Michael Noss what his thoughts would be on like a wedge pattern breakout from a technical standpoint. As a matter of fact, maybe I will. Every single time, and I don't know if you know this, Darren knows this, every time Michael comes on the afternoon show, generally speaking, it's like I know what he talked about in the morning. I have an idea. It's like these are the things he's been talking about on X. So you know what he's prepared to speak on. And I'm always asking him at least one thing that there's no chance that he prepared for. And then he always seems to have a really good answer for it. So hopefully he's not listening right now, because I think I want to ask him about like this wedge pattern. Okay, well, what's your setup and what's your trade for a break of this pattern? I don't think that's that hard, but there's a lot of these happening in the last couple of days, so I think it should be interesting.
We're seeing that compression kind of happening on Nvidia as well, into that 184, yeah, just a few other places as well. I'm still watching this Tesla. This Tesla coming in pretty decently here, 348. So didn't really go. We have about 15 minutes left as of right now. So about 15 minutes left until the close. And I'm looking for the next trade. Nothing really here. And I was saying I was going to go through my my morning trade plan as well, and take a look at all of the stocks I actually planned for versus the ones I executed. So we were talking about quality over quantity. So I'm just going to throw this in here, right here, so you can see. Okay, cool. So I have a little, little snippets for myself. Look for structure breaks, VWAP holds, be like water. Just remind myself to be a little nimble, not numble, a little nimble there. But yeah, no. So Google. I was like, okay, all-time highs, look for a VWAP hold, prior day hold is key, and then look for market tailwind. Now, of course, I'm not going to write my execution sets and things like that on here. It's just a very simple one-sentence idea of what am I looking for, and then I already have an idea of how I'm going to trade it, right? So Google, did it do that? Google all-time highs, VWAP hold. It's only been holding VWAP all day, Neil. So did I get involved? No, absolutely not. I didn't. But it was a bit of a chop. I didn't really like the action that was happening right off of the open. But guess what? That plan actually worked. That plan worked well. Every time we got into VWAP, VWAP hold was there. Buyers were definitely there. And then market tailwind was also there. And then I was like, look for a prior day high hold, and that's key. Sure, that didn't come in right off of the open, but eventually that trade does show up here after 11:30, where we do hold prior day high and push a little bit higher. So if you're not in here, there's definitely some valid pushes or some longs through prior day highs and holds happening there as well on Google. So didn't really participate in that one. And I know for a fact that this one did exactly what I was looking for. Zoom day 2, right? Off of the open. I guess it didn't. I take that back. I was wrong. I only looked at it in the first 15 minutes. So I was like, okay, this continuation happened really nicely. Remember, I was like, oh, right off the open, Zoom is zooming to the upside. And I didn't really look at it after that. I forget exactly why, but that basically failed. Okay, so I was wrong. I was wrong on this one. Zoom, I was like day two of earnings, very strong buyers on the first day. Again, simple idea. Look for continuation. Look for the VWAP hold. And guess what? I think I probably saw it holding VWAP as resistance, so I took that off my list. All right, that's not going to work. NEO, pushing, 5 times ATR within 5 days, a little bit overextended. Am I going to look for exhaustion? It never exhausted. It never exhausted. The selling came in right off of the open. Right? So I was like, all right, well, that can also be a case. And I got involved with it in other ways, through pre-market lows, and then maybe through some VWAP holds as well, as we trade much, much lower. So NEO worked out pretty well, and that was, again, one of my top ideas on the day. Open, I was looking for continuation and the $5 level hold, and I guess I didn't finish typing this overnight. But again, $5 held really well, VWAP holds really well, and it did give me the continuation. So, but I didn't really get involved in that one. And the short was absolutely beautiful as well. Look at that, 516. Oh boy, it's coming in now, going into the close. So is this backside stuff? Have we seen some exhaustion or some, I guess, strong enough selling to take this all the way back down? As of right now, we only have about 50 seconds. 50 seconds for, I guess, 40 seconds, 30 seconds now for these imbalances to come out. And I had AT&T for a continuation. That didn't really come in, I don't think so. Maybe-ish, but sideways consolidation. Wayfair with the furniture tariffs, I was looking for continuation as well. That didn't come in. And then PDD with earnings, I kind of knew what I wanted to do with it, but it already didn't do what I was looking for in the pre-market, so I left that alone as well. So again, so many ideas, only a few of them worked well, and I traded only one of them off of my list, which was NEO, and then another one, I guess I trade a little bit of SoFi and Tesla as well. So, it is what it is. Gotta stay level-headed. A lot of things work. Imbalances are out.
Nvidia, 2 million to the sell side. I mean, Ford's 4 million if you care about Ford. DNB's about 2.5 million. We got HPE, 1.6 million to the sell side. Not really a heck of a lot in terms of the larger cap names here. I don't know why Walgreens would have a sell imbalance, but it does. It's a bit weird. That deal's not closing anytime soon, I didn't think. Yeah, just that Nvidia looks like Mara, 600,000, but that's not going to move the needle. Walmart, 600,000. The market's overall 1.1 billion to the sell side. Nasdaq, 560 to sell. Dow, 450 to sell. Mag 7, 300 million to the sell side. But it's Nvidia. You're in NEO. Nvidia that has the largest imbalance, and that's not going to. 2 million's not that big on Nvidia. Bit of a move down, but then right back in. What's Tesla doing? Tesla might continue here. Yeah, Tesla does seem like it wants to continue. Man, Opendoor as well. That was such a good short.
Oh, beautiful short.
It was such a good short.
I was like, it's a little crowded. Everyone's going to be risking against this 5. Guess what? It gives you that push, lower high.
You just gotta jump
exactly. Right.
Why Tesla? Shouldn't have got a Tesla. That was silly. Could have stayed with Opendoor instead of trying Tesla. Tesla battled to go $1 on a $300 stock. This thing, that gives you 5 to 475 on a reload in there. Come on, $5 stock. Yeah, that's a good one. Opendoor's got to be on radars tomorrow, and I get it. It's just it's too much volume. It's 700 million shares. And it's doing this kind of volume every single day, right? So it's one of the few stocks that even if you miss one trade, you're gonna get multiple cracks at this thing, up or down. It doesn't really matter, and it's not gonna do this kind of volume forever. It's gonna taper off. And you're right, it might be on the back end of the trade here, unfortunately, on Nvidia. I want to check back in on that Ray stock. We had questions about that. That's not even moving at all. And then OPAD, OPAD, OfferPad was another one that gave up that 5 level. Right, that's the problem. You got a wick top, it doesn't hold, it doesn't even hold the 4 level. So you have a bit of a pattern forming with this where rejection at 5, big rejection at 5, and then it's putting another big rejection at the $5 level. So it's in an upward trend. But when you zoom out on OPAD, it doesn't look like that's a good. You want this to close above $4 to break this pattern a bit. That's a heck of a topping tail candle that's forming here on OPAD. If this opens underneath the close, history's told you, it's not very good for OPAD. And every time I say OPAD, I just keep thinking of the art school here, OCAD.
Yeah,
it
does sound similar. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I think my sister really wanted to go for I think it was fashion design, maybe.
Nice.
I think so.
You want jokes? So my brother he was at OCAD for a year. Then my dad moved to the States. He went there with them, and he went to the Art Institute of Fort Lauderdale. And you know who was at that school at that time? Venus and Serena Williams. They were doing fashion there.
Cool.
So yeah,
that's really cool. Yeah.
But then the crazy, Adair was like, that's really cool. The thing about Florida, because I spent my summers there when I was in university, it's just oddly weird how many you just, especially in South Beach, you just see celebrities. And if you're not used to it, I remember one time we went to the beach because that's what you do. It's Florida, and J-Lo was walking
by, yeah. I mean, when you're on South Beach.
in my impression of how that should have went was just a bunch of but it was it was normal.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, that's J-Lo, man. He's like, yeah. And I'm like, what do you mean, yeah? He's like, just be cool. I'm like, I can't be cool. It's J-Lo.
You gotta remember, at the end of the day, these are real people as well.
I was real cool about that.
There's some neo-aggressive selling coming in into the close here. Oh boy, it's only about 4 or 5 minutes. I think it was MF Dangerous in the chat asking Obi, where are you closing that neo, time or price? And I said, bro, I'm taking the closing print. It's already in. So.
Oh, you got the auction?
Yeah. So I just took the closing print on it, just for reps, right? Like I said, I was extremely undersized on this thing. I should have way more. But again, it is what it is. Another one in the books for, in my opinion, what I think was an A+, but it is what it is. A plus, I would say maybe arguably B plus. It wasn't extremely perfect, but it is what it is. That's the one. All right, guys. So you've seen Trade the Pool here with us for a while now, and now Trade the Pool has created something special just for you. A free ebook featuring 4 proven swing trading strategies from Trade the Pool's top funded traders. Inside, you'll find exactly how they approach the markets, how they manage risk, and what setups they rely on. You can learn and grow from what actually works. Download it now by scanning the QR code on the screen or hitting the link in the description. So it was interesting to see and find out and kind of figure out, also reverse engineer, what kind of trades other traders are taking
that can
as
be
well.
tricky. I think you probably get the most out of it from the process.
Yeah, the process for sure.
Process
for
that
sure.
matters.
But in terms of like finding edge as well, right? It's just like a lot of edge does come from process at the same time. But there are certain edges in the market where it's just like, yeah, you know something's working, you got to figure it out. We were talking about some of that kind of trade this morning. Like we know something's happening there. We just don't know what just yet. But we will. We'll find out. We'll find out soon.
Well, I mean, there was. I'll have to get ready for the market recap show. Join me with Adara. We have Michael Noss come through. But there was a few years back. I remember like the simplest strategy in edge that we saw was when we got a new market at Real Trading, and it was the Brazilian market. And a couple of traders were like, "Yeah, let's try it out." And when they looked at it, and after a few, I don't know, like weeks, maybe months of observation, it became painfully obvious that sometimes, like if there was a firm trying to buy a Brazilian stock, like there were so many situations where it would trend up and then print higher in the auction, meaning that somebody had shares they needed to buy that just weren't done yet. And if it did it for 3 days in a row, you bought it at 3 o'clock on the 4th day.
Okay.
And if it did it on the 4th day, you bought it on the 5th, and you would just 3 days in a row, and you would just do it, and you would hammer it.
Yeah.
And it's like sometimes it'd be like 7 days. With one stock, like 17 days in a row, it had the pattern. Now you wouldn't always win as big, but it was like little simple stuff like that on Brazil. And when it stopped working, because obviously something that obviously inefficient doesn't really last for too long. But you never really know where your edge is going to be. Very quickly, TD Baker, before I get up to the desk, what are my thoughts on HIMS? Thank you for the super chat, TD Baker. We appreciate you. HIMS has done it. It bounced off the 200 period. It bounced off 41 after breaking trend down in there. That is your line in the sand. It did nothing with that trend break today. That's disappointing. So it broke the trend here after bouncing, and it did nothing with it. I think if this stock loses the 200 period moving average, that was your chance. It was a trend break short to here, and then it made a chance to try to go this break. It can still consolidate, fine, but if it makes a fresh low, I think it just resumes the short trade. So to me, your leverage on that long was to the 200 period moving average, but that's what I felt last week. I feel like I've only ever said the same thing about HIMS, which was that trend break is a short to there, and that's your only bounce spot. So that's my thoughts on HIMS, and I'll see you guys at the desk. Think of your questions for Michael Noss. Thanks for filling in.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, Obi, and good luck with Neo in the close.
Thank you very much. Yeah, no, Neo seems to be trading a little bit lower here. Yeah, that HIMS on the higher time frame, it just right away when I looked at it, I haven't really seen it other than just now when Neil had it open on his chart. And oh boy, is that sell coming in so aggressively. So that Nvidia sell imbalance plus the market sell imbalance coming in real hot and pushing back through the open on the ES. So the ES goes green to red on the day, oh boy. And then the Nasdaq as well, pulling right back into 23,500 with only about a minute left to go. And yeah, Neo trading a little bit lower as well. So oh boy, indeed. So anyways, so HIMS kind of looking like it's just in a big, huge range since the beginning of the year, and kind of just revisiting some of the areas in that range. Those are my thoughts on it. Nothing too crazy here, but yeah, no, hopefully you guys have had a solid day here at the beginning of the week. Sure, we had a very strong close going into the end of the week, but coming in, we had that continuation on the market, strong bid coming in, and then we're reverting a lot of that coming into the close here, especially on the ES. That's over 100% reversion, and only about 10 seconds left for this bell. So thank you guys all for joining us here, and don't forget, the closing bell is brought to you by Vinfast. That's ticker VFS on the Nasdaq. Oh boy, let's see what print I get here for NEO. If it's gonna have me, there we go. What is the closing print? 09s. Okay, so I got 09s right there. There's the cover on NEO. Heyo. Nice little hold on that one there. I just got to do better at holding most of this. Sure, covering a decent chunk. Seeing the confirmation that, okay, sellers are in charge. This is a trade within itself. This is also a trade within itself. By this, I mean the VWAP hold here and the false break of that prior high, and then the breakdown of this opening range low, which also kind of confluenced because it was a bit of a double bottom. $6.30, I think, was prior day high as well, so strong confluence on that. And then just wait for it to kind of come into the close and use some of these prior levels, maybe 625, this consolidation range high, 615, to really hold on to the trade. I did cover, I would say, over 80 to 90% in all of these executions, and then left that last little breadcrumb until the end just to put in the reps. I'm like, okay, well, if I had X amount of percentage size, would I be holding some into the end of the day? Has it really given me a strong reason to buy? Absolutely not. So that was the NEO trade there. Tesla, a little bit of a chop, just quick scalp into that 349 for a push towards 350. Doesn't really come in right away, and that's what I'm looking for. So I kind of stepped away from that one. And then SoFi as well, I definitely got a little chopped up on this one, even though I was in the money pretty decently multiple times, but chose not to take it because that's not what I was looking for. So took a couple of paper cuts on that one, and that's perfectly fine. That closed pretty strong on the day. So maybe it's not time to sell SoFi just yet. It's holding up really strong. I was looking for a nice little flush, and it seemed like sellers not really getting involved in the kind of way that I was looking for. So that's what I was looking for there. But without any further ado, I may or may not see you guys tomorrow. But Neil and Adara are at the desk. So take it easy, guys. Stick around for the market recap.
Thank you very much, Obi. Welcome to your market recap show brought to you by Beta Pro by Globex. I'm sitting here with Adara. We were just talking about Coinbase and how good that short was. Well, I mean, crypto over the weekend, we know what happened. You had all-time highs in ETH, then you pull back 10%. Bitcoin just pulled back. It didn't make any new all-time highs. So you had a bunch of names that were under pressure, especially at the open when it came to the crypto space. Coinbase in particular did not necessarily have a good day. But let's be real, we know what's coming up this week. On Wednesday, we're going to have Nvidia earnings. Tonight, there is a lot to go over. One of the stronger names of most of the day here, Tesla, did a very, very, my chart here. Now my chart does not want to load at all. Anyways, Tesla had a pretty strong day as that looked like it was reversing a big, big move after its earnings and now starting to break out a little bit. Some of what was moving this market, of course, had to do with Jackson Hole on Friday. And then there's those fears of losing that gap that we had. Because I've been trading a while. You noted the reactions that we've seen to Jackson Hole before. The manner in which it went up is what was shocking.
Yes.
It's not that the market rallied after Jackson Hole. It's how heavy the rally was instantaneously that it was something that I'm not used to seeing. So you're always fearful when we go up that quickly that you might give some up.
Well, yeah, I think generally, too, what happened with at least last year's Jackson Hole was we gapped up into Jackson Hole. Then we basically, we had the pop. Powell stepped off the podium. We sold off. And then we kind of came back up and we still opened up on the day solely because we gapped up. But as you said, Friday was a very different beast. Friday, we just bought up and then chopped and then bought up and then chopped. And so it was just, you're right, like the way it did it was distinctly different, at least from last year's action. This is like my second Jackson Hole ever. But yeah, I want to talk as well. I mean, we know we keep talking about Nvidia earnings, but I am ever the contrarian, and the earnings I am most excited for this week, and I've said this before, CrowdStrike, also on Wednesday. CrowdStrike is on a downtrend on the daily. CrowdStrike is, and I've talked about this is probably my favorite ticker to trade on earnings. Look at this downtrend on the daily. We also randomly sold off here into the close today. We had a downgrade on this today. So, I mean, like, what I'm trying to make is I think NVIDIA is definitely on watch for good reason. I will also be watching NVIDIA. But you have to make, there's different trades for everybody, right? There's something for everyone. And, make sure that you're just prepared for all of the amazing opportunities this week, because whether you're like a pre-market trader who's going to trade off of some of these numbers, we have GDP on Thursday, PCE on Friday. We've also got, of course, like even other earnings beyond NVIDIA, CrowdStrike, we've got Snowflake, Dell, Affirm, if you're into more kind of the short flow type of situation, Open provided opportunities. So just make sure that your doors are open to all of the different wonderful ways that trades can set up for you. So that's going to be my little rant, but yeah.
Well, that's sort of the thing. You have, I like the pun there, as it should be. No, CrowdStrike is a good one, Adara, because that was something that, for lack of a better term, I think might have disappointed on Friday. Like, if you think about the kind of volatility that we saw to the upside on Jackson Hole, you would think that growth names, things with high Ps, like the cybersecurity group does have, would have been maybe a little bit stronger. Like, if you pull up this daily at CrowdStrike, does it really stand out? Like, yeah, you got a green candle on Friday, but it doesn't stand out at all. So I think that was a little bit disappointing. I like the fact it's holding the 200 period moving average. This is going to be a big report for them, because we saw Fortinet have a decent report and go down 22%. We've seen Palo Alto be a bit of a dip, and a good dip buy opportunity as well. So CrowdStrike, again, with a relatively high PE, not doing much in here today. That seems like it's going to be a big one to pay attention to. I know we're going to have Michael. What I love is I know there's already a few people in here that are asking some questions. Jag asking a question already that he wants Michael to answer, which I'm going to get to. I know I kind of teased what I was going to ask him about before, but before we get into talking to Michael here, there's another factor that I think when we look at some of the moves that we've seen. ETH all-time high pullback. You've had a bunch of squeeze. You had a squeeze name like Open making those highs. You have the Nasdaq pulling off of those highs. There's so much that makes people feel frothy, I suppose is the word you keep hearing a lot, that I'm always worried about stocks that don't make upside moves the way that I would expect them to. Whether it's CrowdStrike not bouncing the way that I would have liked. I thought like Amazon had a bit of an underwhelming day today at a Mag 7 land. Not much continuation. Hopefully you can do better tomorrow. But just start to get a little bit skittish, I do think. We have some news breaking?
Yeah, we just have like some tech earnings. So Q2 adjusted earnings of 41 cents per share. I didn't have them on my prepared earnings notes because I usually try to stick with larger names or names with larger market cap. Semtech is kind of neither, but I want to talk about it regardless. I saw some people mentioning it in the chat. Semtech Q2 adjusted earnings 41 cents, narrowly beating estimates of 40 cents per share. Sales also narrowly beating estimates here, 257 million versus 256.094 million. So that is a narrow beat on both EPS and sales. Their guidance here quickly too, I'll talk about as well. They're guiding Q3 adjusted earnings between 41 and 47 cents per share. That midpoint is basically in line with estimates of 44. Sales here for the quarter, 261 million to 271 million. Again, their midpoint just slightly beating estimates of 264.742 million. So if I had to describe this report in one word, it would be in line.
In line is okay, but in line doesn't play anymore. No, not at all. I'm gonna have to throw some other charts because my signal is not really working. We just got a super chat in here, Dare, from Microvision. So first question to Rusta in the chat is, do you really just want us to call up a chart of MVIS? Because we can. I'm not sure if there's anything going on with Microvision. I mean, it's a $1 stock that has been trending down, which is not really doing a heck of a lot. So if there's something else that you want us to expound on, just let us know. They've already reported, didn't really do much off of those earnings, except for, hey, good look, it's held the $1 level pretty well. And I don't mean that, like, I'm not saying that jokingly. It's literally bounced off $1 exactly 3 times in the last couple of months. 1, 2, 3. So that's actually not bad. that's a pretty good sign for you to bounce off that dollar level, especially when you're talking about effectively a penny stock. But there's no catalyst that I'm aware of with this stock. So let me know if there's something else that you wanted us to look at with regards to it, or you just appreciate the super chat and pull it up there. Maybe that'll be a dollar trade tomorrow. You never really know. I do usually like that level as a former penny stock trader. But you know what? Someone who I know doesn't really trade penny stocks, at least not to my knowledge, but knows a lot about technical setups. And we talked to him this morning, and we're bringing him back like we always do. It's our good friend, the NOS Boss. Time for a little trader talk. Welcome back, Michael Noss, our good friend from Stats Edge. It's been a minute, not a full day, but a full trading day since we last talked to you. And maybe not the exciting, ridiculous Jackson Hole nonsense that we had on Friday, but still an interesting day in terms of finding some continuation, though not across the board, after the wild Friday that we saw when I don't recall that kind of a rapid move at Jackson Hole. You don't see that too often.
No, and this is one of those times I'm happy that I look at charts and not just headline numbers. Because I'm looking over here, and if someone just read to you, small caps down 1%, Q's down 1/3%, SPY down 0.5%, you'd think it was a really ugly day. And then you zoom out, and you just compare that in comparison to yesterday's candle, like you were talking about, and it's really nothing. So it's just a rest day. It makes perfect sense that we're going to have a little bit of a rest after this massive move. Even if you look at something like the IWM that's down 1%, in context, again, this makes perfect sense. Just everyone's taking a little bit of a breather here. So I expected this, and to be honest, as annoying as it is, until we have Nvidia's Wednesday, and then we have, I think, some sort of CPI or some big number on Friday, we could be seeing more of this chop, I think.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. Chop just seems like the way that it could be for sure. And like Nvidia is such a big deal to these markets, Michael. But I want to ask you something maybe not monster big tech related, because the whole thought was, all right, Jackson Hole rates coming down, let's go IWM, let's go small cappers. Now you have individual situations which have been incredibly bullish. Up until the last maybe 30 minutes, Opendoor was looking really good. That's more of a squeeze play. But take me through your thought process there, because it's one thing to have a big move on Friday, but when you get the information of, okay, well, now that people have had a chance to maybe calm down and think about it, how do we look now? Because this was the news that small caps wanted to a certain extent from the Fed. How did today's price action speak to you there?
Again, I don't take much stock on today's price action, but what I wanted to show, and I was talking about in the show in the beginning, was this chart right here. And I've been pounding the table. I promise I don't always talk about commitment trader data, because quite often it doesn't mean anything if it's kind of middling in the middle. However, this has been so interesting to me from the Russell 2000 side of things. So essentially what we're looking at is the average long or short position of traders in the Russell 2000. And they've been kind of flat or even. This right here where I've got my cursor, this is like the 0 line. So it's been a little bit short, covering a bit, not too much action in this area right here. And then all of a sudden, after we had this tariff tantrum, you can see how much shorter they became, and more short at this point than they have been, if we zoom out, in years, all the way since 2022 and, the height of that bear market. And you'll notice that when we were that short before, that kind of marked the bottom of that bear market. So these guys are continuously and consistently wrong, which is why I like to potentially fade them. Also, it's just one of those things, even if they weren't that wrong, we know that when a trade gets too crowded in either direction, it's probably time to start looking for the opposite. But seeing that they have been shorting more as this has been rallying, and then we had like a 4.5% or 5% gain on IWM on Friday, and they only covered a little tiny bit. Like this tick up is what happened last week, the amount of contracts that they covered. The fact that they are still this short, and we think that business is going to get a little bit easier for these small caps, still makes me very bullish, right? You combine the price action that we broke this 2,300 area for ages. That we've resistance here and then back here and here again. So we broke out of that. We had a monster day. We know the positioning is net short. To me, that is everything I need to know for a potential larger rally in the small caps, which, always, they're not really the most exciting stocks out there. You're talking a lot of regional banks, a lot of biotech companies, that type of thing. But I'd rather fish in this pond of 2,000 stocks than potentially in the large cap side of things, where if I go to the NQ, they have been kind of long the whole time. They sold a whole bunch of it last week. So this positioning data doesn't really give me nearly as anything interesting as that short flow data on the IWM did.
I love that you brought that short flow data to our viewers. It's something that's definitely piqued my interest, and I know a lot of our other viewers. Before I get to, I know there's a question I want to ask you that partially a viewer and then partially myself, but before we get to that, I did want to ask you about something. I've said this on the show a few times, like on days like Friday, you want to ask yourself if the stock didn't perform on Friday, maybe you should be questioning what's going on there. And I wanted to get your thoughts on it, because I know you do have some thoughts on this as well. And if there's anything that stands out to you in that vein, because it was the kind of everything up kind of day where some things are going to stand out if they weren't strong.
Yeah, it was actually a 90% day. I think it was Frank Capolera, who said that, and who does a lot of breath work. And the 90% update just means just that 90% of the S&P 500 on Friday was up. And I actually made a tweet about that and got some responses as well from it. And that's the idea, is that if we know that when the market moves fast, everything becomes correlated. When the market moves slow, things aren't nearly as correlated. So if the market was grinding up over time, slowly, I think you can kind of forgive the stock that's in your portfolio that's not really participating with it. When markets rip or when markets tank, generally speaking, correlation spikes. So all stocks in the market will move roughly the same. So I did, and kind of what I was not suggesting, but telling everyone might be a good idea to do themselves, is I went through everything that wasn't up on Friday, and on Friday at the close, I just killed it. And I got rid of all of them. I said, I'll figure this out next Monday if I really like these. Unless the name is specifically there for a hedge, like it's a Coca-Cola or a Walmart or something like that could be considered more defensive. If it didn't move up with that rally, I really do think you need to ask yourself why. And I'm looking at you, Palantir. And this might just be because Palantir was up on Friday, but if you compare this to the market, it wasn't that substantial. And part of it, I think, just could be that this trade is a little bit overcrowded, and there's so many people that are long it and got shaken out that who's really left to buy type of scenario. But the reason for this too, and you can look at the literature, this isn't just us pontificating, you can look at correlation literature, and it just shows that if you buy the stocks, there's an old saying in technical analysis that I love that said, hey, if you want to outperform the S&P 500, you should just be buying the stocks that are outperforming the S&P 500. And if your stock was dramatically underperforming, or even worse, not even up on Friday, I really think you have a hard think about why that might be, and whether or not your capital should be better allocated somewhere else.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think if it was relatively weak, you need to have a strong conviction reason. Like if it's technical, it better be A+. If it's fundamental, it better be like, this is the story and the value that I really, really believe in, because the market's telling you something there. Certainly on days like Friday. And I want to throw to Adara, because I believe we have a question for you, and then I do have one that I'll try to stump you with myself.
Yeah. Hi, Michael. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Hey.
I want to ask you here, I guess a question from Carlos Giovanni in the chat. What are your thoughts here on natural gas futures? Do you think they're a buy at this level? I know you've talked about UNG before. What are your thoughts as of right now, I guess, how it's moving?
This person must have read my mind, because I was actually going to talk about natural gas futures, NG here. And part of the reason was just today's candle. And you guys know I love to play this, even though it's a little bit spicy. They call it the widowmaker because it's crazy. For a commodity, this one moves by far the most that are out there. But what interests me today is that we had this big gap down. So we'll just zoom into today's candle. We had this big gap down off the open, and then this seems like it could have spent all day meandering up here. But if you go into like the 15-minute chart, it all happened pretty quickly. So this is the opening, and then in the first 45 minutes or so, it just rocketed up to close that gap, and then held that all day, even with the little bit of a weak close we had on the S&P 500. So all of the caveats that are out there, like if you're trading natural gas, you might as well be trading sheep with hat coin or XYZ biotech company that's worth like $1. You need to expect 10, 15% overnight swings, and there's nothing you can do about it. But that was interesting. And in fact, I actually had the natural gas chart queued up right here to show the commitment of traders data on it, and quite a bit short, not at an extreme. So we're looking at the red line here. So it's not nearly as extreme as it was way back here, but it's probably the most short it's been in about a year. That combined with the price action that we saw today that rallied this through, that makes me interested. So depending on tomorrow's action, I might pick up a little. I'm going to use just a stop at the low of this candle and just see if this is a short-term bounce. Nothing that I think we're going back to, prior highs up here at $10 or anything like that. But hey, it's at 270. If you can buy some here and it gets up into the threes and you're using like 250, 260 for a stop, it's a good risk reward play. So yeah, that chatter read my mind. I was actually looking at that right before the show.
And that's sort of the thing. If there's something to be played in that gas, I know you're going to be at least looking at it. Maybe not always taking the trade, but okay. So I always try to do this for you. This one, I'm not giving you the option of not taking trade. You don't actually have to trade this, but there's a pattern that we were discussing on the show multiple times, and I've said it as well. Tesla has this set up. Amazon has this set up. It's a very, very clear defined wedge pattern. And it's not so much what to do with the break of the wedge, because it breaks the wedge up, you go long. It breaks the wedge down, you go short. My question for you is, what is your exit plan? I kind of know what mine is, and I said it in the afternoon, how I approach where I would throw a stop on a swing for this, but I want to know what you do. There's a chart of Tesla or Amazon, either one. They both have clear wedges on the daily. So you're entering along here, maybe the close today or however you like, and maybe you're taking the open tomorrow, I have no idea. But you're in the trade. Where are you throwing the stop here, Michael, and why?
So two options here if you want to be a little tighter, a little looser. And one, if we're going pure like old school in the textbook technical analysis, is a break to the other side, right? So I have this wedge drawn out, and if you get a break of this upper trend line, that's your immediate exit. And that actually I think I like the best because it lines up with this massive candle that we had on Friday. So your exit's around 318 or so. The more conservative way is if you look at kind of the halfway between the breakout line and the other line, which would probably also be roughly halfway in this candle, that's around 330. So what I would probably do if I was in this trade right now is I would say, okay, any close below 330, I'm out, and then have a hard stop down here at like 318, 319 in case something catastrophic happens when I'm kind of away from the computer, which knowing Elon, that could happen anytime. But yeah, I'm a little bit tighter on these because I know breakouts, generally speaking, are going to be wrong more often than they're right. So the power in taking breakouts is a small risk plus a pretty massive potential return. So I would say on a closing basis, 330, I'm out. And then on an absolute basis at 318, that's just got to be your hard stop. So I would size it so that 318 wouldn't bother me too much. And then look at it. If we get a close under 330, then I would just exit from there. Now for what to take out as a profit target, with Tesla in particular, I'm not using a profit target. I'm using a trailing stop because Tesla has this history of absolutely nothing for incredibly long periods of time, and then like a double, and then nothing for a long period of time, and then a double. So I want to make sure that I'm giving myself that opportunity just in case things start to go good on Tesla, that I'm using a moving average or an ATR trailing stop or something to give me a little bit of room, because if this goes, it would not surprise me if we're looking back in a little bit of time and saying, oh yeah, Tesla broke that 500, now it's 550 or 600 or something crazy.
Always a fully thorough answer. I didn't even ask you about profit targets, but you gave me the answer anyways. But I want to, just for anyone, I'm going to highlight something that I thought was the coolest thing about that, personally, is you said sizing the trade for that, like the wedge trend up break.
The worst case stop, yeah.
For the worst case, which that allows you to say, I'm setting aside a fixed amount to lose on that trade, but you also have a this isn't working right away halfway stop, which is requires it to close under that, where you could potentially then be risking less on the trade with an opportunity to maybe get back in. That might allow you to play it twice on the break, like it fails the first time, maybe it goes the second time. That's an interesting little twist, because that's something that I'll tell you right now, when I've done swing trades on a wedge break, I've never really done that. I just keep it really simple. I'm like, well, if it breaks the bottom of the wedge, I'm just getting on. I like that wrinkle. That's why we appreciate you so much, Michael, as always. One of these days, I'm going to get you to say, I don't know, I don't take that trade. I don't know, I don't really like it that much. But it hasn't happened yet. But I think this goes down to preparation, and we appreciate how much time you put into the charts and your analysis. But I don't want to get you out of here without allowing you to hopefully opine on something maybe we didn't cover. Get to it. Maybe there's something that's piqued your interest. Maybe you have a setup that you really like that is natural gas. Maybe that got spoiled. It could be something in crypto, Solana, that you're interested in. Anything on your mind before we get you out of here?
Solana, I do think, is very interesting. I like the look of Solana for potential break back over this range. When it comes to kind of 205, even though it's selling off a bit. The main thing I'm interested in, though, is MSOS. And full disclosure, I already own some of this. It's just not doing its normal thing where it pops and then usually just gives it all right back. In fact, it's holding, and it's holding pretty strong, and looks like it could potentially break out of this base. So again, I like that as a maybe base continuation. Full disclosure, I am in MSOX, which is, I believe, triple leveraged, either double or triple leveraged, I can't remember. So I'm using this vehicle as opposed to picking individual names. The only worry I have here is potential sell the news event if there is some sort of declassification or regulation or whatever it is that they're putting through. But it's just, if you look at MSOS, it usually pops and drops and pops and drops over and over again. This time, at least for now, it's popping and holding, which is a bit of a change of character and something I'm a little bit interested in.
Oh, I like that look. There was a trader on Friday in our back office in the algo room that was looking at something very similar in the space. It wasn't MSOS, but they're looking at individual stock. So they're on the move, and it does. We were talking about tail rate even on the show. It does look a little different this time. That said, I always remind everybody, it was really, really good a few years ago. You still got to take profit on the way up and not just sit there holding out for the marijuana names to always go higher. Make sure you're taking that profit. That's an important part of any strategy out there. And that's why I appreciate you. When we asked the question, how would you manage risk on Tesla, you made sure you answered the whole thing, because you don't actually have a trade if you don't have both ends. You got to be able to explain the whole thing, not just, where's my out, where's my in? Well, where are you going to take profit as well is a big part of it. Michael Noss, it's always a pleasure having you on. Check him out at Statches. Check him out at X. Sometimes you find some funny posts in there as well. Thank you so much for coming on here. We can't wait to talk to you for the end of the week here on Friday. We'll see you then, Michael. Best of luck.
Thanks for having me. I'll see you Friday.
All right, take care, brother.
Yeah.
It's the Nas boss. He never disappoints. And on top of that, while we're talking to Michael, Adara never disappoints. I think you were dropping news like hotcakes in the chat there. Appreciate you so much. Before we round things up, I think there's at least a couple of headlines. There was AMD had a bit of a headline. They had somebody. I'll let you get to it. We had a couple of headlines while we're talking to Michael.
Yeah, I'll get to it. I already talked about Semtech earnings. They were in line. Heiko we're also waiting on, but they're set to report after the close, which apparently does not mean as of right now, because I haven't seen those numbers. Sometimes when they say after the close, that can just kind of be any kind of time before tomorrow opens. So we're going to have to wait and see. I'm also seeing reports that apparently South Korean President Lee, who we know had a meeting with Trump today, apparently he's also meeting with Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang. So keep an eye on Nvidia. But as you mentioned, AMD at news 2, Neil. AMD on watch. Apparently their CAO, so Chief Accounting Officer Philip Carter, is joining Skyworks as their CFO. So he's getting, it sounds like a little bit of a job upgrade as of September 8th. Now, AMD has made it very clear that this was Philip Carter's own choice. He's leaving of his own volition. They didn't have any kind of accounting issues that caused them to oust him. It's not an ouster. He left of his own accord. And in the meantime, in the interim, as they look for a new CAO, their CFO will be filling in for Philip Carter's work as well. So busy CFO there at AMD, but it doesn't sound like Lisa Su has too much drama on her hands. As you can tell, the stock didn't really react at all to this, but I think worth noting nonetheless, Skyworks, I wasn't really seeing much of a reaction on either.
You think if they
to this story?
Usually you think it'd be good, but
WKS. Yeah, Skyworks, not really much here. They kind of sold off into the close, but post-market, not much to look at.
Well, it's important, that clarification, because look, anytime you hear a CFO leaving a publicly traded company,
CAO, right?
CAO,
That's the one thing.
CFO, CAO, it doesn't. In the surface, you want to make sure there's nothing going on there.
Yeah, I like that they told us that right off the bat. They
right
were
off
like,
the bat.
he is innocent, he didn't do anything. He just is getting, I would assume, a better job, CFO.
Yeah.
Someone put it in the chat, you know, like he's, I guess, he learned at AMD and now he's moving up in the world. Wolfspeed as well, they reported earnings. I dropped those in the chat too. Inline earnings here are losses per share, and then sales 197 mil, beating estimates of 191.795 mil. This is a super choppy chart.
Yeah.
They also said their next important milestone is for the court to approve of their plan for reorganization next month, and then hopefully they can shortly thereafter emerge from their Chapter 11 status.
There you go. Thank you very much, Adair. And we got more work for you because we're about to do the roll call. By the way, Mike DeRider, Michael Noss probably cut down 175 trees today. The guy's a beast. So I made that number up, but it sounds apropos. And shout out to you, Mike. But you know what else we can give shout outs to? Our entire community when we do the roll call right about now. Big shout out to Obi filling in for Sean. He'll be back after a much deserved long weekend. The midday, thank you for Obi again. And Adara, both filling in for Sharif. He should be back tomorrow. And Joseph, shout out to you. Shout out to Fabian, Ramin, Andre. Hey, you saw Mark, Randy, and Rob all working in the back of Studio 8, working really, really hard. And of course, big shout out to Brendo. Big shout out to Michael Noss, our special guest, both in the morning and the afternoon. And hey, give yourselves a pat on the back as well. Get yourself in the chat. To do so, you got to be a subscriber, so hit the subscribe button, hop in there, and let's get a little roll call action.
Yeah, we had some super chats as well from Rustem Bilalov. I know we mentioned the MVIS earlier, but we also had OSRH and MVIS, so thank you for the $9 of cumulative super chats here from Rustem Bilalov. Yeah, this SRH, I know this has been a small cap in the past. Take a quick look at the daily chart here before we get to the roll call. Yeah, I mean, it actually did gap up today. It looks like there could be some resistance at that $1.30 level. I am by no means a small cap trader. I'm actually maybe the opposite of that. But either way, it does look like an interesting little opportunity. This thing, though, is below the $1 level. Now let's talk about everyone in the chat. Thank you guys so much for being here today. Stevenson, Etienne, Maximus, Charlie T. Money, TD Baker, not seeing a lot of names right now. We're not populating very much. Chuck of all trades, Ronaldo, John Fitz. Oh, there we go. We got some names now. Your Huckleberry TV, Mike Lowry, Mig Raj. We've got Belch Melch, John Baker, TD Baker again here. Goodo, Chris Rover, so many beats. Mr. Thumbs Up 2025, Mike Lowry again. We've got LJ, Neil TTV, thank you, Neil. Derek Thompson, Traditional Developments, Dine Roking. And before we, I guess we go here, thank you to Neil, thank you to, we'll see Sean tomorrow. Thank you to Sharif, we'll also see tomorrow. Joe, we had Obi doing double duty today. We have Ramin, Fabian, Andre, and we have Brendan, of course. And we'll see you all, I believe we will all see you tomorrow. So that'll be awesome.
I also saw in there Big Milkshake Trading, which you have a name like that, we got to shout it out. Chocolate milkshakes are the best. I'm just going to leave it at that because I happen to believe that it's true. And I have no idea if other people agree with me, but I'm just letting you know. And you know what? It's always a lot of fun. But remember, we're all building into Wednesday. Nvidia earnings, we got to get there first. We'll be here for all of the action. We are Trader TV Live. It's been brought to you by Beta Pro by Globex. And we'll see you tomorrow morning, bright and early, 8:30. Bye, guys.